there as well. But she also had a lot of new roles in Precure, Kusan Madoshi. She had Gate, Asterisk War, and Rakudai. She ended up voicing prominent characters in all of these works as well. This is all just in 2015. She was very, very, very busy in these years, and she still is. Now trivia number 3. Naobo has voiced a character for one of the following Shonen Jump titles in a video game. Is it a Gintama, Toriko, JoJo, or One Piece? Let's see what people say. Okay. Well, some people seem to get it right. Yes, the answer is in fact JoJo, the PS4 games, JoJo Bizarre Adventures Eyes of Heaven. She actually voices Trisha, I believe is the name. So the thing about this game is that when JoJo gets anime adaptations, some of these roles have been recasted. I hope though that if Part 6 is to get an anime in the future, I would very much enjoy if she could retain her character, because as we all know, JoJo is very, very popular. It could be a good thing or a bad thing. Now, first half of 2016 alone, you have more things like that. She's got some video game titles here I put in here, all in the winter of 2016. Spring 2016, sequels to Asterisk War. She did shows like Bakuan, Continuing Gate, the Go Go Goma-chan anime, which was originally a very old show from 1991. I guess was redone for 2016, and Naobo got to play the little seal. She also played another character in there, but she almost never talks, so it was like, although she only goes Q, 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 that's all she does. But another thing that she did in there is this is when Macross Delta aired. And in the first half of 2016, as you guys know, she joined a group called Walkure. Now, this is mostly for time when I know Walkure, so I won't talk too much about her. But what you guys need to know is, they're very good. They're a five-man unit. Yuna, Minori Suzuki, Tonao. You have, oh my god, they're really good. That's all you gotta know. Walkure looks at Toyama now as sort of like the older sister of the group, because she's very diligent, when it's time to get serious, she's very serious. So they kind of look up to her as she was the big sister of the group. So, I could go on for how good Walkure is for longer, but that's all you need to know. Walkure is, in fact, very good, and you should listen to their music. Now, for the second half of 2016, she continues on strong with many titles in many different series. She had, more. She continues doing Karen. She does lead roles in Long Riders and this show, Magical Girl Racing Project, is the English title, because I don't dare say the Japanese title too much. She also landed the voice as Nosumi here in Euphonium Season 2. She had Strike the Blood, Iseta, Art Club Has a Problems, and Regalia 3 Stars. Now, it was at the end of 2016 that she also announced her debut as a solo artist. This was something that many Toyama Now fans were waiting for. We knew that this was going to happen one day. We just didn't know when. And Toyama Now also felt like at the end of 2016 is when she felt like she was ready to take the step as a solo artist. As you can see here, it was announced on the 17th of November. She signed with the record Flying Dog, and it was also when the Line account and her Twitter opened up officially. Now, her very, very first tweet, test, as as you can see. Now, this happened when I was just about to go to sleep. It was basically past midnight, and when I heard about this, obviously I was very, very, very excited that this was happening, right? So, yes, I was very excited. It was 1 a.m. and I was still screaming externally. Now, this is when we move on to the next section. Now she has started her solo debut, so this is where we move from 2017 to today. The first single came out very early after that, February 1st, 2017. It is True Destiny and Chain the World, which was for the anime Chain Chronicles here. She also had a role in that anime. And True Destiny and Chain the World was very interesting because Chain Chronicle was released. There was a TV version, and there were like these movie versions of it. It was the exact same story. In fact, the TV version is just those movies spliced together, but they were being released almost at the same time. So True Destiny and Chain the World served both as an opening and an ending for this anime, depending on the version that you were watching. Seeing Chab simping Navo. I mean, if you are in this panel and you don't simp Navo, then what are you doing? Now, the second single came not long after that, just a few months later. In May 24, 2017, the anime Tsukiga Kirei came out in that season, and she played a side role in the anime, but this Tsukiga Kirei and Imakoko is the single, sorry about that. These songs served as the opening and ending of the anime, and they are super good. Like, actually insanely good. You guys should listen to it. They're probably some of my absolute favorites that she's done to date. Songs are very good. Now, other notable roles. Now, the thing is about 2017 is that after her announcement as a single artist, it did slow down a little bit in terms of roles that she was playing for anime. There are a lot more roles here in this year that I could talk about. However, there were more minor roles that I felt like might as well glance over, because there's a lot of stuff I actually skipped over because the list is actually quite insane. As you can see in anime, the animated version of Grand Blue Fantasy, you have the Classroom with the Elite anime, where she had another prominent role there, and in video games, she had 2 lead roles in Fire Emblem and the Trails of Cold Steel series. Now, stuff that happened in 2017 as well. That was when her first radio series, Dream Theater, ended in September. 182 episodes of Dream Theater happened before it shut down. Now, I remember when she announced that she was ending Dream Theater, I was very, very sad. I didn't even want to go to work that day. Unfortunately, a new radio series, which is the one she's doing now, Ad Living, started the week after. So at the end of the day, I stressed out for an entire week over nothing.
If they've got everything under control,
now, this was also when her first album, Rainbow, was released. Now, in October of 2017. Now, Rainbow, first album, this is also the first time that she wrote the lyrics for a song of hers, which was actually the title song Rainbow itself. I thought it was really good. And it just shows that, she's willing to continue push herself forward as not only as a voice actress, but as a singer as well. And also she announced after her Anisama 2007 performance that her first live would be happening at Nippon Budokan. Which I thought was quite huge because Budokan is a very prestigious venue. Like many people want to perform on this stage, and Mayoshi gets to perform in Budokan, I guess I'll die. So then, the first live happened on the 3rd of February in 2018 at Nippon Budokan. Now, done singing. Now her live is structured in 3 different segments. The intro section, she sings a bunch of her songs, and then it goes into a dance section where she dances with a lot of energy, and then goes into ballad sections as well. Now, let me just go forward here. I forgot what I was going to say at this part, actually. As you can see, she also sang for the first time since 2014. She came out and sang songs as Nakagawa Kanon here in Budokan. Now, the reason this was so significant, specifically for older fans that have been following her career since the earlier days, is that anyone that remembers watching The World God Only Knows will know that when Kanon sang, the venue in the anime was actually modeled after Budokan. And hilariously, I did not realize this until she actually was singing the songs that she did, just like in the anime, that the stage itself had been made to look just like it did in the anime. It took me basically more than 2 hours into the live to realize that this was the play that the staff had done. I was like, wow, I did not believe it. But yes, for many, many original novel fans, this was a very, very, very special moment. And of course, another thing that was announced with the first live that she did was the beginning of her fan club, the Toyamana official fan club, Niji no Waka. Now, it has the standard fare that you would expect on fan clubs. She will post voice recorded messages every now and then that you can listen. Just of what she's been doing throughout the day, how her day how her day has been. It's just, really comfy general stuff. There's a Q&A section where you can drop a question, and every now and then she will answer questions that fan leave them. There's the Nao's Kitchen blog where, it was very well, I guess it was memed to death at some point, and it might be still true, but Toyama Nao was bad at cooking. Really, really bad at cooking. And the staff decided that, one of the things that she should do in this fan club is have a blog where at least, every now and then she gets to cook something on her own and she posted on the blog. And Toyama Nao's mother was very much against this idea, but she still went through with it. And yes, as it goes in one of the comment sections, the very first entry that she posted on the Nao's Kitchen blog was her just cracking an egg, and that was it. But you have wallpapers, club merchandise, and of course access to club-only events. But what I think it's really good and important about the fan club is that she has also used it to do charity donations to the Japanese Red Cross, specifically because, as you guys might be aware, her birthday, March 11th, is also unfortunately the anniversary when that very, very large earthquake and tsunami hit Japan and caused a lot of devastation. And ever since that happened, Toyama now felt that she wants to help, specifically because it's also on her birthday as well, and
Please
just
remember,
help people
safety at work
and use
is
her
our
platform
highest
to help
priority
people.
and should
So
be yours.
every year on her birthday, she releases an exclusive piece of merchandise, which all the proceeds go to the Japanese Red Cross. As you can see in the picture there, the first year the item was a wristband. Now, later in that year, in May, this is when the third single, Motoshibi no Mani Mani, was released. Now, she actually sang this in her first concert in Budokan as a teaser. It was super hype. But this served as the opening theme song for the anime Kakuriyo no Yadomeshi, and she was also the lead character for that anime as well. Now, 2018, she keeps rolling them in. Notable roles for 2018: lead character Beatless, Eurocamp, Shimarin, Lead character in Yushiki Pandora. Liz and the Bluebird comes out. She continues being Nosumi. Kanesatsu Shoujo, she gets an important role there. Hiroduku's there. Bunny Girl Senpai, another role there. Goblin Slayer, the elf in Goblin Slayer, and also a main character in the Valkyria 4 game. Yes, a lot of camping fans here in the chat. Not mentioning Sand 4 because I forgot. But it's not out in the West yet, so technically I don't have to talk about Trails of Cold Steel 4 yet. Now, the beginning of 2019, March 9, 2019, the 13th Seiyu Awards. She ended up winning 2 awards, Best Supporting Actress, because of Shimarin in Eurocamp. And she also ended up winning the Video Game Award for her role as Lyria in Grand Blue Fantasy. 2 awards in one night. Pretty good, I'd say. So yes, it was very validating that, you know, after 9 years since her debut as a voice actress, you know, that she can actually get recognized and given awards because of her roles and work. Because, you know, she's been working really hard. Now, more notable events of 2019. In April 3rd, the second album, Gunjo Infinity, was released. And something I forgot to mention in here is Gunjo Infinity, much like in the first album, Rainbow, she also wrote the lyrics, this time of 2 songs. And the title song, Gunjo Infinity, not only did she write the lyrics, but she also composed the song as well. So she keeps moving, like she keeps pushing here to do more as her career goes on, because now she's writing lyrics and composing some of her music. She has a lot of skills. And of course, there was the announcements of the Gunjo Infinity live tour. You have the stops there: Osaka, Nagoya, Yokohama, 2 days, Taiwan, and Shanghai. Also, 2019, 1 year later, same thing as last time. Her birthday comes around. This time, the charity item was a tote bag. I forget if somebody secured me one of those. I hope that somebody bought one for me, because I want one. Alright, and also another thing is, after the contributions to the Red Cross that she did on May 29, she was actually awarded a Golden Achievement Award from the Japanese Red Cross Society because of her contributions. So yeah, I think this is really, you know, it just shows that she's a great person, you know. Novel is so good, guys. Heart of gold. Now, as we move. Oh shit! Hold on. The fuck happened? Oh, sorry, language. All right. Technical difficulties. Hold on a second. I'm so sorry. Get rid of it. No. Get rid of it. Oh no, I gave it away. Anyways. Here's a freebie. Which day was on the Blu-ray of Gunjo Infinity? Of course. Yeah, that one was easy. This one's easy. It is, in fact, Yokohama Day 2. Now, the picture that I ended up deleting was actually a picture of me. It's just a picture of me up in the balcony cycloning. So nothing that important. Don't worry about it. Now, as we move on to 2019, these are the prominent roles that she took part of in 2019. Again, there are a lot more roles here that I could have mentioned, but I thought that these were the titles that were worth to put here on my slide, as you had second seasons for Grand Blue Fantasy, There's a Netflix, they call it, quote, Netflix original anime X Seeds, it's a manga adaptation. She had the lead role there. Dumbbell, she got to play a Russian character, and I heard her say Blyad, and I thought it was very funny. Iruma-kun, she played a side role there. Kono Oto Tomare as well. I have not seen Oresuki, and I think I should be. And of course, she also ended up becoming main heroine in Da Capo 4. I did not know Da Capo was still making games into 2019, but here we are, and Toyama now is the lead heroine of it. Now, this is also, we're moving to 2020, this year, the fourth single, Aruite Iko, which has served as the opening theme song for Koisuru Asteroid, was released February 5th, 2020, and of course she also played a role in the anime Sakurai Mikage. And so far in the year 2020, she did Rin in Heya Camp. A second season of X Seats was released as well, where she continues her role in that anime, and Gleipnir as another lead title that she has worked just recently last season. Now, we move on a little bit into the future now. We have upcoming roles coming for the next season in anime. As you may have known some people, she will be voicing in the Kanoyo Okarishimasu anime, or Rent a Girlfriend. That's coming up very soon in the next couple of days. She is also going to be voicing Yui again in the third and final season of Oregairu.
Oh man.
That is also coming up very, very soon. If we can get through 2020, on 2021, we will be getting the second season of Eurocamp. Hopefully we'll make it to 2021. And then, of course, there's a Goblin Slayer movie where she will be continuing doing her work as the Elf Archer. And there is a Macross Delta movie and a new Trails game coming up later in the year, hopefully. And she will be continuing very prominent roles there as well. So the future is still looking very promising for her. There's still lots of high quality roles that she's going to be playing a part of. And I am excited to see.
Shouldn't you be at your designated
Oh,
work
the
site?
Goblin Slayer movie already came out. My bad. I haven't watched it. But 2020 also is the 10th anniversary project, where she is
Please
releasing
remember,
a special
safety
album
at work
on the
is our
5th of
highest
August in 2020,
priority and
which
should be
includes
yours.
a lot of character songs of different titles that she's done throughout the years. If you pre-ordered the album up until last week, I believe, you would have gotten a copy of that Penguin song she wrote that I mentioned earlier. However, the pre-order timing for that has already passed, so you can't get it anymore if you try to do it now. Sorry about that. But another thing is obviously the 10th anniversary live special thanks festival, scheduled for December 5th, 2020, maybe. Because I don't know if it can still happen, and I don't know if I can go yet. But that basically catches people up to what she's done for the past 10 years and what her future prospect projects are. At this point, if you want to stan Toyama now, please follow her in her Twitter, her Instagram. Yes, she opened an Instagram back in May. It forced me to get an Instagram account because I had never used Instagram before then. But you can follow her Twitter, Instagram, her YouTube channel. She just started a new series in her YouTube channel. You know, as she releases a new video every Wednesday. And some of us here, some of my friends is in chat there. Jesse, he's translating these videos in English. So if you wish to watch the videos, you know, we are trying our best to make sure that they also get translated, and make sure to follow the Line account and her official fan club.
This is not a scheduled break time.
Know more. Look how cute she is. And that's basically almost brings me to the end. Look at this. I calculated almost an hour. I don't know if you guys want. You can follow me if you want. These are two, my Twitter, my Twitch. I'm just Gaming19 everywhere, so just Google it. I don't feel like plugging any more things like that. But that is actually the end of my presentation. I did not think it would actually last exactly an hour. I am a god. But anyways, we have 3 minutes left. I'm willing to just chill here now. And if there's anything you guys want to talk to me about in the next 3 minutes, I'm in the chat. Show the cyclone picture. Okay. All right. Give me a moment here. I don't know. Show the cyclone picture. Okay. Oh dear. Can I do this? Hold on a moment. Hold on a moment. I'm not leaking anything, I swear. I don't have it, man. It was a one thing. It was I don't have it anymore. I made it exclusively just for this one thing. Oh, right. Ah, you're right. Control Z. Alright, this is the one. If you see me in the second floor cycloning like a maniac, that is me. I'm just having a good time. Please don't judge. But I had a really good view. That's all I'm gonna say. No, I did not tiger. I will not tiger to Naobo. If somebody tigers to Naobo, let me know. Also let me know their location. I will talk to them. But yes, I will not be arrested for yakai crimes. But anyways, guys, this was it for me. I noticed it is actually 3:39, so 3:29, so I exhausted my time. Thank you very much, guys, for, watching the panel for me, or with me, sorry. Enjoy the rest of the convention. Thank you very much.
料理が下手くそなところをあとは堀まみさんとさやかのと八千代のバトルみたいなところも、非常に迫力があったので、改めて僕はあのシーンを見て、あそこの部分が好きになったというかっていうところは、映像の力っていうのはすごいなっていうのは改めて。
私あとあれもすごくマギアレコードになって衝撃でした。今回ドッペルが出てきたじゃないですか。マドカマギカの時はやっぱりドッペルっていうのはなかったので、そのキャラクターの青木梅先生のデザインの されたキャラクターとその犬カレーさんのドッペルの融合された感じがテレビの方ではそのアニメーションとしてどんな風に動くのかなっていうのとかもすごく気になってたので、すごくかっこよく仕上がっているなっていう風に感じました。
そうですね、おっしゃっていただいた通り、本当にね、バトルシーン、ドッペルのシーンも当然そうなんですけど、ゲームじゃ描ききれなかったというかね、ゲームとは違う観点から、かなりアニメの方で膨らましていただいたり、よりこう触りやすくだとか魅力的に作っていただけたなとは、はい、すごく僕もフィルム見た時に感じましたし、はい、あとは富山もねちらっと言ってたゲームのオリジナルキャラクターとかもうまく本当にストーリーに組み込んでいただいて、ゲームやってなくても当然見て楽しんでいただけるフィルムなんですけれども、ゲームやってから見るとさらに違う発見だったり新たな気づきもあるかなと思うので、ぜひぜひ、アニメもそうですし、アニメだけ見たけどまだゲームやってないよっていう方で、ゲームがねできる地域にお住まいの方なんかはぜひゲームやっていただけると良いかなとも思っております。はい、いろいろお話伺ってきましたが、実はですねここでもう一人、にちょっとこっそりお話いろいろ聞いてみましたので、ぜひぜひ VTR になりますが、コメント見ていただければと思います。出ますかね、 VTR どうぞ。
皆様ハロー、大家好、マギアレコードでナナミ秋を演じています天宮さんです。私の一番印象的なシーン、そうですね、印象的なシーン、たくさんあるんですけど、でもやっぱり皆さんの心の中にも残っているであろう最終話ですかね。最終話ですごく八千代が初めて本当に心からイロハを受け入れた、イロハと下の名前でね呼んだシーンがあって、その時優しい表情をしていたところからの、イロハの手が離れて約束したじゃない、汚いって約束したじゃないっていう、もうその流れがやっぱり八千代を演じている身としては結構嬉しい、温かい優しい気持ちのところから一変して喪失感で溢れるっていう、そのやっぱり印象的でしたね。もう本当にアフレコの時もちょっと本当に体が震えるくらいに私としてもショックなシーンだったのでよく覚えています。はい、そしてそう、あと私もすごく個人的に気になっていたんですが、エンディングあれ八千代オンリーですよね。ひたすらもう八千代が実家の背景の中でいろんなところにそっとしていたりとか、エレベーターの中で一人でいるっていうエンディングがなぜ八千代なのかって意味深な感じじゃないですか。なのでちょっと私それを、制作秘話といいますか、そういうのを見たいと思います。以上、天宮空でした。バイバイ。
はい、天宮さんからの VTR いただきました。ありがとうございます。サプライズゲストの天宮さん、改めましてありがとうございました。富山のところにも天宮さん演じる八千代のフィギュアなんかもありまして、それがなんだっていう話ではあるんですけれどもはい、そうですね、朝倉さんのところにはイロハちゃんがいらっしゃって、はい、よかったです。ありがとうございます。天宮さんの VTR の中にもありましたが、エンディングについて放送当時、日本国内もそうなんですけど、かなりいろんな方々に楽しんでいただいて、クラリスさんの楽曲に乗せたなんですかね、エンディング映像みたいなところで八千代さんの心情描写みたいなところをある種なんですかね、雨の中八千代が歩いていってエレベーターの中に閉じ込められてみたいな描写なんかもすごくなんかね、コンテンツでやっていただいた方のかなり意図だったり狙いみたいなものもあるので、ぜひぜひ皆さんいろんな感じ方で楽しんでいただけるといいなと。で実はエンディングのラストシーンとオープニングの映像の中でもちょっとつながるシーンなんかもあったりするので、その辺も探してみて楽しんでいただけると良いななんて思ってますので、エンディングの見どころというか、ポイントっていうのはそんなところなのかななんていうふうには、個人的には思っております。あとはね、天宮さんもおっしゃってましたけど、13話のいろはちゃんと八千代の心のなんですかね、つながりみたいなところが描写されたところなんか、朝倉さんいかがですか？演じてみて、ご覧になってみて。
楽しい。私も本当に大好きで、本当にそれこそ1話なんかは最初の方は
けるようになったというか、なんか改めて最初はこう守られる存在だったイロハがみんなと関わることによって成長していって、人を励ます側というか、光の方に連れていく側になれたっていうのがすごく嬉しかったですね、私も。
そうですね、ありがとうございます。本当にこういろはの成長物語でありつつ、実はこう八千代の中でも、成長というか前に進むための物語だったりもするので、やっぱりそこの2人の関係っていうのは引き続き楽しんでいただければななんて思いつつ、13話でねいろはがこうマミさんと戦ってどうなってるんだって方も多いと思いますんで、はい、その辺のお話はちょっとね後半のコーナーでできたらななんて思っております。はい、先ほどですね富山から、アニメとこうゲームで表現が違うなんてお話もありましたが、当然ご覧になっていただいた方には分かるかなと思うんですけど、アニメになってかなりこう表現が変わっている部分もあったりなんかにして、ゲームにないこう新キャラクターなんかも実は登場していたり、ゲームで喋ったことないセリフをこうキャラクターがこう発したりとか、かなり多くのチャレンジをしていただいております。そんな中で、演じる側としてですね、朝倉さん加藤さんがこうキャラクターに対してこう実際にこうなんですかね感じた、ゲームとアニメの違いみたいなところをお話伺えればななんて思うんですけど、朝倉さんとかどうですかね、ゲームとこうアニメの違いみたいなところで。
そうですね、先ほどもこうおっしゃってた、ドッペルだとか魔女だとか、私自身こんな風にイロハのドッペルって、なんだろう、ゲームとは違うちょっとこうまがまがしいものになってて衝撃を受けたりしたんですけど、イロハ自身に関してはそうですね、ゲームと違うなって感じたのは、少し大人になったなというか、ゲームの後半なんかはもちろんこうみんなを率いて頼もしくやってたんですけど、第1シーズンはやっぱり各キャラクターの過去だったりとか、なんだろう、辛い今置かれている状況だったりとかをこう描くシーンが多かったっていうのももちろんあるんですけど、その乗り越えた先に毎回こうイロハがこう一人一人にこう優しい言葉をかけたり、なんだろう、勇気づけてあげたりするシーンがこうあって、なんかそれを見て、なんだろう、イロハって結構守られる側だったり、こう弱かったり、あとはウイを探すことに一生懸命で、みんなをこう時に巻き込んだりとか、なんかそういう一面ももちろんあるけど、すごくこう周りのことを見ていて大人な部分があるんだっていうのを感じましたね。
そうですね、確かにイロハちゃんのこう描き方はかなりこうゲームとは変わったというか、当然芯はぶれないんですけれども、スタートラインがね宝崎のこう実家にいるところから始まったりというのも大きな違いだななんて思いますので、確かにかなりこうイロハちゃんの描き方は印象違うかもしれないですね。続いてじゃあ加藤さんにもお話伺えればななんて思うんですけど、加藤さんの場合はこうマドカマギカのキューベ、ゲームのキューベ、小さいキューベ、そしてまたアニメのなんですかね、紛れ子のキューベ、小さいキューベにつながっていくと思うんですけど、この辺の違いみたいなお話伺ってもいいですか？
そうですね、私の中で大きく変わったなーっていうところは、やっぱりマギアレコードでキューベを演じる時とマドカマギカの時のキューベを演じる時の心構えというか、役に対してどういうふうに魔法少女たちに接するかっていうところが違うなってちょっと思っていて、マドカマギカの頃ってキューベがどういうキャラクターかっていうのはもちろん分からなかったっていうのもあるんですけれども、なので魔法少女たちと関わっていく時になるべくキューベとしては余計なことは言わずに、魔法少女たちにいろいろ動いてもらおうっていう気持ちで演じていたんですね。でもマギアレコードの時にはもうそういうキューベの本来の目的っていうのももう視聴者の皆様も知っての通りの上で、いろいろまた、パラレルというか、またマドカマギカとはまた違う世界線だとは思うんですけれども、でもなんかやっぱり本来のこのキューベの正体を知ってる上で演じるっていうのは、私 私の中の感覚でやっぱりだいぶ違うなと思いまして、やっぱり本来の目的を知ってたりキューベを知ってると若干やっぱこうどうしてもなんかこう裏読みされちゃうかなみたいななんか喋り方になっちゃうかなっていうところもあったり、そういうところのさじ加減がちょっと難しいなって思いました。なんかマドカマギカの時には純粋にキューベは演じられたんですけど、マギアレコードになるとより悩むようになりました。あんまりこういう別に特にそのキューベとしては意図はないセリフなんだけれども、例えばなんかちょっとした答えだったりとかイロハに対する返事だったりとかっていうのはもう本当に単純にイロハに質問されたことに対して返すっていうことだったりしたけれども、その返事がもしかして裏を読めばこうなんじゃないって思われちゃうのかもしれないなって思うと、なんかそのさじ加減がすごく演じるのは難しいなって思って、はい、小さいキューベはもうひたすら可愛く
そうですね。確かにキューベが喋るシーンってこう見てる側からするとちょっと構えるというか、
そうですね、
これは何か企んでるんじゃないかみたいな印象を持つ方も多いかなと思うので、確かにその辺の演じ分けっていうのはこう当時とはだいぶ変わった部分の一つですね。
変わりましたね。
ありがとうございます。
はい、
富山さんはいかがですか？そのゲームのプロデューサーという観点からゲームとアニメのこう変わったところというか、さっきもお話伺ったんですけど、より具体的なところ聞ければななんて。
はい。ゲーム、今回アニメーションを作るにあたってで、ゲームでも一緒にやらせてもらって面白かったなっていう部分は、一つがですね、刀剣アイドルのサイズさんの、曲を、アニメーションで使うので、それを作って実装するみたいなところっていうところは、一緒に動く中で刀剣アイドルこういう感じだったんだっていうのがきっかけで分かったっていうのは非常に、個人的に面白かった部分が一つ。あとはですね、八千代さんの過去の部分で、メルとカナエの部分を描いてよりこう描いていただいたんですけど、メルの魔女だったり、その辺を実際にゲームの中でもアニメの放送に合わせて実装したりとか、そういうところは非常にこうやってて楽しかったというか、アニメにすることで、ゲームの中にもまた戻ってきた部分だったかなっていうふうには思います。
そうですね。確かゲームってそのキャラクターをこう縦にこう掘っていくというか、そんな印象が僕個人的には強いんですけど、アニメの場合はこう横に広げるというか、他のキャラクターとのつながりみたいなところもかなり描きたい部分、描かなきゃいけない部分だと思うので、その辺は確かにゲームとアニメの大きな違いかななんていうふうには思っております。これちょっと僕がアニメを作っていてっていうお話にはなっちゃうんですけど、僕が個人的にこう一番変わったというか、ある種変えたみたいな部分で言うと、第1話に登場してくるいろはちゃんのこう宝崎の地元のこう知り合いというか知人というか先輩というかの魔法少女のクロエというキャラクターが出てくるんですけど、これはもうゲームにも存在してなかったキャラクターをアニメでオリジナルのキャラクターとして出したので、ここはすごくこう一番変わった部分なのかなと個人的には思っております。多分朝倉さんだったり加藤さんもクロエが何者だってのがまだ見えてない部分がすごい多分視聴者の皆さんと同じぐらい、気になってる存在かななんて思いますので、この辺もぜひお楽しみにしていただければななんていうふうに思っております。
最初の方しかクロエ出てきてないですもんね。
そうですね。
だからこのまま結局出なかったクロエって思いながら、
実はこう第13話ご覧いただいてすごくこう細かく見ていただくと新たなクロエに関する発見もあったりするので、ぜひぜひその辺チェックしていただけると良いのかななんていうふうに思っております。はい。で実はですね、この、アニメとゲームの違いというか変わったところみたいなところで、この質問についても、サプライズゲストの方にも聞いてみましたので、もう一本 VTR 見ていただければと思います。それでは VTR どうぞ。
皆様ハロー、大家好。ゆうつるの役の夏川椎名です。そうですね、鶴の
にかく元気で、もうムードメーカーみたいな子だなっていう風に思ってました。そうですね、ゲームの時とは違ってやっぱりいろんな表情がつくので、もちろんその元気な可愛い表情もついてたんですけど、それよりも気になったのは鶴乃がちょっとなんかこう八千代と話したりとかする時に一瞬だけこう暗い顔をするっていうのがやっぱり気になりましたね。普段明るい子だから余計に。なのでやっぱり鶴乃は一筋縄ではいかない子だなっていうのを再認識しました。はい、以上夏川椎菜でした。バイバーイ。
はい、夏川さん、コメントありがとうございました。鶴野はですね、こちらにもいますね、鶴野ちゃん。ゲームでもアニメでもいつもこう元気なところがいっぱいで、僕もこうお気に入りのキャラクターの一人っていうところで、非常にコメント嬉しかったです。改めてありがとうございました。なんかすごい一人で俺言ったみたいな感じで、ちょっとあれだなと思うんですけど、はい、いろいろお話も、聞いてきて、夏川さんからも素敵な VTR コメント頂戴しました。ありがとうございましたというところでございます。アニメやゲームと違う楽しみがたくさんありますので、ぜひぜひ皆さんもアニメとゲーム両方楽しんでいただけたら、良いなと思っております。それでは次の一言アフレコのコーナーに入りたいと思います。はい、マギアレコードの世界で、たくさんのねこうマドカマギカにも負けない名台詞みたいなものもいくつかとかたくさんあるんですが、今日はせっかくキャストのお二人にも来ていただいておりますので、お二人とも一言ずつここで、生アフレコをしていただければななんて思っております。やっぱ海外向けのイベントではこう非常に喜んでもらえる方も多いということで、ぜひぜひチャレンジしていただければななんて思っております。お二人ご準備はよろしいですか？
はい、大丈夫です。
はい、ありがとうございます。それではまずは、いろはちゃん、朝倉さんからお願いできればなと思っています。朝倉さんに演じていただきたいシーンは、第1話、いろはが、自分の願うこと、自分の願いですね、を思い出すあのシーンのセリフでございます。
キューベお願い。ウイの病気を治して。ありがとうございます。
これはもう僕も第1シーズンのなんですかね、こうフィルムの中でも大好きなシーンの一つなので、なんかこうリモートで見させていただいたんですけど、当時のアフレコの様子だったり、初めてフィルムを見た時のなんですかね、なんか物語が動くっていうのをすごくこう思い出した、非常にこう素敵なセリフありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。なんか今のセリフもね、聞いた時はいいのお願いしちゃってって心の中で思いながら。
確かにそうですね、キューベの立場からすると、ある種こうしめしめじゃないですけど、よしよしみたいな感じもあるかもしれないです。ぜひこう今のねセリフのシーンこうコメントできるサイトで見てる方はすごい良かったみたいなコメントいっぱいしてくださいね。よろしくお願いします。はい。続いては、じゃあ加藤さんに、第12話、あとはマドカマイカでもねあった名シーンというか名台詞をですね、お願いできればななんて思っております。じゃあどうぞ。
この国では成長途中の女性のことを少女って呼ぶんだろ。だったらやがて魔女になる君たちのことは魔法少女と呼ぶべきだよね。このセリフやっぱり衝撃、いつ聞いても衝撃的ですよね。
ありがとうございます。もう
魔法少女ってそういう意味だったみたいな。
本当にこのセリフはマドカマギカで見た時もこう鳥肌が立つというか、ゾクッとくるシーンになったんですけど、これがまた紛れこで聞けるのはっていうのをねプロデュースしていく中で感動したのがすごくドラマの感想なんかありますので、ぜひ聞かせていただけるとね、そうゲームプロデューサーってこう白状な感じかな。はい、ありがとうございます。このいろんな地域にお住まいの皆さんもこうめちゃくちゃもうパッパシみたいなものでぜひぜひしていただけると嬉しいなと思っております。さて生アフレコもねしていただいたところでですが、そろそろ楽しいもので終わりの時間が迫ってまいりました。本当楽しい時間っていうのはあっという間ですね。はい、最後にゲストの皆さんに配信ご覧の皆様へメッセージをいただければなと思いますので、まずはゲームプロデューサーの北山さんの方から伝えていただければと思います。はい。
川 P がいるんですけど、この2人だけちょっとこうソーシャルディスタンス距離取って撮影してるんですけど、ちょいちょいこっちの方を見るんですよ。なんか喋れよみたいな。それを変えるのがすみません、必死でちょっと見苦しい表情が多々あったと思うんですけど、そこだけご了承いただきたい。
なんか今ちょっと緊張感がはい、小山さんありがとうございました。はい、じゃあ続きまして加藤さんよろしくお願いします。
世界中の皆様ご視聴いただき本当にありがとうございます。今回ね海外中心にしたそういう配信だということなんですけれども、去年ロサンゼルスにアニメエキスポの会をさせていただきまして、その時にマギアレコードにステージに立たせていただいたんですけども、もう皆様の反応がものすごかった、熱い反応だったのをすごくよく覚えていて、本当に世界中の方にたくさんのファンがいらっしゃるんだなと思って、すごくびっくりした思いがあります。またね、ちょっとしばらくはなかなか海外の方にはお伺いできないと思うんですけれども、でもこうやってまたいろんな配信だったりとかマギアレコードことなどもらって、ゲーム、アニメとさまざまな媒体でマギレコを楽しんでいただけたらいいなと思っておりますので、よろしくお願いいたします。今日はどうもありがとうございました。
はい、加藤さんありがとうございました。それでは最後に桜さんからのお知らせをお願いします。
はい、世界中の皆様、今日はありがとうございました。最初はこうリモートでお話しするということでどうなるかなってすごく緊張してたんですけど、たくさん、お話できてすごく楽しかったです。第1シーズンが終わってこうやって改めて細かく今までのことを振り返る機会をいただけて、私自身第2シーズンへの期待が高まっています。なのでまだまだね、今はラブキソのメンバーが集まってこれからだっていう段階なので、これからもご勝利のことを皆さん見守っていただけたら嬉しいなと思います。ゲームも合わせて、楽しんでいただけたら嬉しいなと思います。これからもよろしくお願いします。
はい、朝倉さんありがとうございました。この最後にですね、これで結びではあるんですけども、台本の一番最後にプロデューサーから一言でちょっと赤字のちょっと太い字でクレーンについても可能な限りお話ししてくださいみたいなことがあるんですけれども、本当に第2シーズンでもクロエの、気になるなんかね、あれ以降のクロエのお話であったり、イロハの13話の後のお話であったり、もちろんキューベのある種の思惑みたいなのがどんどん明らかになっていくので、第2シーズンに関しても、告知だったり情報をぜひぜひお待ちいただきつつ、その間に第1シーズンなんかでも楽しんでいただければななんていうふうに思います。今日はですねご覧いただき、皆さん本当にありがとうございました。それではまたいつか。
ありがとうございました。
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 military shut this site down years ago.
Nice one taking back the radar station, Deputy. Eli used to say if we got the Pinko back, then the Whitetails would have eyes on the entire force. He wasn't kidding.
This doesn't look good. I could really use your help with something. This could have turned ugly if it wasn't for you. The Whitetails need more supplies, and I saw that the salvage site has some stuff we could use. We head over there and get it before the Peggies do. Can't just leave it like this. Hey, you got a sec? You did good taking over the radar station, but it's not over. Looks like they're still broadcasting data from here. Best way to take it down is to destroy their satellite dishes. Pretty sure I saw 3 of them on the rooftops around here. Take some explosives and blow them to hell. Better hurry up. I'm pretty sure they already know we're here.
It's gonna be 4 volumes total.
Okay. Well, 4 volumes is actually really good.
Enjoy anime! Enjoy anime!
Short.
Short, but then like a pretty full flash.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so what are you looking for to see expectation on time and vertical? Alright, so next up, next season, actually more immediately, summer 2020. This is happening pretty much right now. Okay. So start with July 7th, we got Cells at Work, Bacteria.
So I can talk about this a little bit. So if you all have seen the cells.
Hello everyone! クラリスのクララです。カレンです。皆さんいかがお過ごしですか？最近はライブやイベントで皆さんにお会いすることができなくてとっても寂しく思っています。はい。ですがまた皆さんにいつでもお会いできる時のために歌とダンスのパフォーマンスを磨いていきたいと思います。はい。今はこんな状況ですが、少しでも皆さんに元気になっていただけたらと思い、アニプレックスオンラインフェスで私たちの映像をお届けしちゃいます。イエーイ！私たちと一緒にオンラインで盛り上がりましょう。それではどうぞ。
騙して約束忘れない夢落としてしかめる押し寄せた闇振り放って進むよいつになったらなくした未来を私ここでまた見ることできるの溢れ出した不安の影を
「
ということで私たちの楽曲の映像をご覧いただきました。
はい、また皆さんとライブやイベントでお会いできるのを楽しみにしています。
はい、引き続きアニプレックスオンラインフェスお楽しみください。以上、
クラリスでした。See you!
Never thought I'd see the day Jacob was gone. Pretty sure I heard someone screaming over from Frank's place there. We should go and make sure he's okay.
Hello everyone! トライセールの朝倉桃です。皆さんいかがお過ごしでしょうか？私はですね、とても元気に毎日を過ごしております。そんなトライセール5周年を迎えることができました。ありがとうございます。本当にね、皆様のおかげでここまで走り切ることができました。もう5年間あっという間すぎて、もう5年経ったのかと不思議なね気持ちになっているんですけど、昨年なんかは20公演というトライ史上最大のツアーをやったりなんかして、今まで行ったことのない土地にいっぱい行ったりしました。でもね、まだまだトライセールで行けていないところ、皆さんに会いに行けてないところがたくさんあるので、またねこの先皆さんに私たちの方から会いに行けるように頑張りたいなと思いますし、海外なんかもね、私たちそのイベントなどでは海外で行かせていただいたことはあるんですけど、単独では一度もないので、いつかねトライセール単独ライブなんかできたらいいなっていう願望があります。なので皆さんこれからもどうぞよろしくお願いします。じゃあ続いてはテンさんお願いします。
もちありがとう。続きましてトライセールの雨宮空です。私はですね、ちょっとおうち時間が増えたことで、残念ながら太ってしまったので、最近筋トレをしながら、痩せようと頑張っているところです。デビュー5周年ね、トライセールデビュー5周年を迎えることができましたが、本当にここまで来られたのは皆さんのおかげだと思っています。私は最初ね、ダンスが本当にこう苦手だったりとか、もうどうなるんだろうと思っていたんですけれども、本当に皆さんの応援あってちょっとずつ踊れるようにもなってきたかなと思いますし、これからもですね、皆さんに、楽しんでいただけるステージをできるように、頑張っていきたいと思います。そして海外のファンの皆さん、ちょっといつの間にか海外のファンもすごく増えていて、とっても嬉しいので、いつか私たちから会いに行けるようにですね、したいなと。その時はぜひ、一緒に思いっきり盛り上げてくださると嬉しいです。じゃあ最後になっちゃんよろしくお願いします。
テンさんありがとう。トライセールの夏川椎名です。皆さん元気ですか？夏川はすっごく元気です。お家にいる時間が増えたので、最近はもうずっとゲームをしています。あとはお料理をねする機会がすごく増えたので、ちょっとだけ料理の腕が上がったような気もします。玉ねぎもちゃんとみじん切りできるようになりました。早いものでトライセールもデビュー5周年ということで、本当にありがとうございます。本当にね、ここまでやってこれたのも皆さんの応援があってこそだと思っていますので、ぜひぜひこれからもよろしくお願いします。なかなかね、今の状況だとメンバーにも会えなくて、私もねすごく辛いんですけども、でもせっかくの5周年なので、みんなで私もだし、みんなも笑顔で、トライセールおめでとうって、お祝いしてくれたらなと思います。そして海外の皆様、なかなかね今は会いに行けなくて、私もすごく辛いんですけども、トライセール最近結構海外にも行ったりするので、また皆さんにねこちらのお国で会えることを楽しみにしております。
どんなに手を取り合っていても 最後までお楽しみください。お届けしたのはトライセールでした。 See you! Hello everyone. レオナです。皆さんいかがお過ごしでしょうか。私はここ最近はお家でまったり猫と遊んだりして過ごしています。皆さんもたくさんアニメやゲームと触れ合えてるのではないでしょうか。今回アニプレックスオンラインフェスを通して皆さんにライブやミュージックビデオの映像をお届けしたいと思います。それではお楽しみください。どうぞ。
guy with a whole bunch of Fang Center stuff being chased by Jacob's men. I sure hope he made it. If you're over that way, just make sure he's not hurt or anything.
Everybody knows Queen's Hot Springs Hotel is haunted, and now the cult's torturing people there. I hope the ghosts... Everybody knows Queen's Hot Springs Hotel is haunted, and now the cult's torturing people there. I hope the ghosts take care of the pigtails.
Oh man.
レオナのライブ映像とミュージックビデオをご覧いただきました。いかがでしたか？楽しんでもらえましたか？またいつか皆様とライブでお会いできるのを楽しみにしています。 それでは引き続きアニプレックスオンラインフェスをお楽しみください。レオナでした。 See you。 じゃあな。Hello everyone。 7分の22です。皆さんいかがお過ごしでしょうか。最近もライブイベントで皆さんに会うことができず、私たちとしてもとても残念に思っていますが、このような機会を通して皆さんに楽曲の映像をお届けすることができ嬉しく思っています。私たちもオンラインで一緒に盛り上がりたいと思っていますので、皆さん楽しみましょう。
大人たちは簡単に言うけど、私にとっての希望ってどこにあるの？
途切れることのない車の往来に国道を渡れなかった。誰かの言葉とか冷たい眼差しに心が萎縮するように、夢なんかを見ていたって傷つくだけだと身に染みた。自分がどこにいるのかわからない、何も見えない世界で途方に暮れている。どっちに向かって進めばいいの？もうどこへも歩きたくない。ねえどうして生きていかなきゃいけないの？命って何のためにあるの？自信がない、これからどう生きればいい？だって人生が長すぎる。
むずいよ。
風は吹いてるか、時代はざわめいてるか。ああ、自由に声を上げてるか。No, no, no、 嘘だ、嘘だ、嘘だ。誰だって思ってる、穏やかに暮らしたいという主張が伝える正義に耳を塞いでいられない。ああ、何も心配はいりませんよ。問題はありませんよ。風は吹いてるか、時代は黙ってるのか。ああ、僕らは騙されてないか。納得できないことがあるなら声を上げてきな。まあいいかなんて思っておいたら手遅れになる。流されちゃダメだ。No, no, no、 僕は立ち上がる。ということで、私たちの楽曲の映像をご覧いただきました。また皆様とライブでお会いできる機会を楽しみにしています。それでは引き続きアニプレックスオンラインフェスをお楽しみください。 See you。 Hello everyone、 はるかです。皆さんいかがお過ごしでしょうか。私は最近 YouTube に 自分の曲やカバー曲をアコースティックなアレンジで歌うということをスタートしました。わーい。検索するときははるかプレイグラウンド HALCA プレイグラウンドで検索してみてください。よろしくお願いします。いっぱい歌ってますね。最近はですねこういう状況も続いていまして、皆さんと直接お会いできる機会が減ってしまってすごく寂しいんですけど、今日はアニプレックスオンラインフェスで、こうしてね皆さんに音楽を届けることができてすごく嬉しいです。ぜひぜひ皆さんリアルタイムで一緒に盛り上がりましょう。よろしくお願いします。それではここからは私の曲をいっぱい聴いてくださいね。どうぞ。
君
楽曲の映像をお届けいたしました。どうでしたか？ありがとうございます。わーい。ねえ、またいつか次は皆さんの住んでいる地域に会いに行けることを楽しみにしています。頑張りますのでどうか応援よろしくお願いします。ということで、お送りしたのははるかでした。この後も皆さんミニプレックスオンラインレースお楽しみくださいね。ありがとうございました。はるかでした。See you!
皆さんこんにちは。私がアニソン界の大型新人鈴木雅之です。このような機会を通して、鈴木雅之の楽曲の映像を、皆さんにお届けすることができてとても嬉しく思っています。オンラインで一緒に盛り上がっていきたいと思いますので、どうぞ皆さん楽しんでください。
大変長らくお待たせいたしました。皆様、本日はお越しいただき誠にありがとうございます。今宵は素敵なショーをお届けします。皆様にとって忘れられないそれでは歌っていただきましょう。
Allow me to destroy all this
ということで、かぐや様は小倉スタイの第1期と第2期の主題歌を続けてご覧いただきました。最近では日本以外のファンの方からのですね、コメントやカバー動画がたくさん投稿されていまして、鈴木雅之もですね、日々楽しく拝見させてもらってます。この2曲が世界中で愛されるっていうのはとても光栄なことだと思います。本当に皆さんありがとうございました。それでは引き続きアニプレックスオンラインフェス、どうぞお楽しみください。鈴木雅之でした。
My friend told me the cult's been making drugs out of the old brewery for years. I never believed her, but with everything that's happened lately, I think she was right.
What the hell? Let's see, it's 2 p.m. Sekai Project.
The more people ranked, the larger the border gets. The larger the amount of people who can enter the border gets. So it started like you maybe can only have one person who gets the card. And as many people hit certain point thresholds and contribute to the overall threshold, it will increase the border. So it'll be like 10 people can now get cards to 20. To I believe the highest we ever got was off the top of my head, I believe 70 plus.
100.
Oh,
No, more
yeah,
than that.
or
We
100,
got over 100. Over
100, yeah.
we got more than 100, yeah.
It was like 120 in the last one or something like that. 120 something. Yeah, it's over 100.
Basically, if you really wanted to see
I mean,
how
that was fun.
yeah, this is how you really see the popularity contest between the 37 was like, because there were very, like, based on the sheer amount of how many ranking cards actually exist.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Just letting you know that right now we have the second panel going on, and also the AKB48 and sister group panel going on in panel room 2, since technically this one is over. So if everyone wants to that would be cool. Thanks.
Just finished with taste test because how can you have not taste in your cooking panels, right? Crunch. Wow. But it's really good. If I don't say myself.
Now that we're not streaming anymore, we should show a picture at least.
So you don't see it in the, well, maybe not on Twitch, but
yeah.
On Discord, yeah. Oh my goodness, before you eat all of it, just take a photo and then throw it in chat.
You see on Discord? Yep.
You see it, yeah, just throw a photo anyway, because you know not everyone were able to see the video anyway.
The wing.
Really hot. Okay. Okay. Well, that's it for the panel. I will the photo.
Concept. So from the get-go, the group was meant to be divided into 8 teams, A, K, and B. It took about like 2 years. And by that he meant A, having a lot of members, so that while some members were busy filming television programs or promoting singles and so on, others could do live performances, and others could do handshake events. And so the most
That's kinda
important part
loud.
of that is that the group was to be based at a theater in Akihabara, and where they would hold daily performances, which was the core of the like idols you can meet
There we go.
concept. So from the get-go, the group was meant to be divided in 3 teams, A, K, and B. It took about like 2 years for all 3 teams to be in function, so to speak. Where was I? So with those teams rotating into the theater, each of them like performing, let's say like 2 days out of the week, maybe. There could be daily performances. A lot more people could get to know the girls. Starting in 2008, they started establishing sister groups to have the same concept in other cities, because you can't meet the idols if you don't live in the city. You can't attend performances easily. So the first one in 2008 was SKE48 in Sakai in Nagoya, and then there was NMB48 for Namba, HKD48 for Hakata, Niigata48, not named after a district, STU for the Seto Inland Sea, and aside from that, starting in 2011, some overseas sister groups were established to export the concept, because by that time it was clear that it was a good concept to make money. AKB48 somewhat quickly gained what you could call an hegemony of Japanese media. They were, from 2010 to 2013 or 14, they were everywhere. They were on every magazine cover and every commercial. They you could not walk around Tokyo without like turning your head and seeing an ad with members in it. One of the things I'm going to address is how they achieved that. Okay, so very quickly, some terms, because there's a lot of slang or technical terms that AKB fans use. What is a senbatsu? Basically, because there's so many members in AKB48, currently like over 100 or close to 100, not all of the members are on the A side of a single. or even on the B side. So the A side of a single, what is called senbatsu means selection. So it's the members that are picked to be part of the A side of the single and get to appear in the music video and on TV performances and so on and so forth. Team, as I've explained before, is how they subdivide each of the sister group for performances at the theater, especially, but occasionally also other concerts or other events. Stage, as I've explained earlier, AKB48 is performing daily, not so much daily anymore, but originally performed daily at their theater. Each of the sister group also has its own theater and its city. So the stages are a predefined set list that were performed at the theater. They were originally like original, what we call original stages is like a set list, a list of songs, like almost like an album, and they were structured as an album that was created specifically to be performed at the theater. As time went on and the group grew, there were necessarily many new stages made. Teams would revive stages that other teams had done before, that they hadn't been performed in that city or by that group yet. So the stage is usually like you'll have a few group songs, an MC with the members, like there's several MC to allow costume changes, and then you'll have unit songs where the teams are usually like 16 to like 22 members. They will be subdivided in like smaller units, so you get, each girl gets more lines and so on and so forth, and then more group songs. Many of those songs, especially unit songs, became very iconic. AKB48 songs, not the ones you would hear on the radio or perform on TV, but the ones that, that are very popular with fans and get performed at concerts a lot. Generation is basically a batch of new members entering. Members don't enter on an individual basis. There will be like an audition, and a batch of members will be like taken into their group, and they become Kenkyu, say. Which are trainees. They're girls that have just entered a group that are not part of a team yet, but starting in 2009, if I recall correctly, Kenkyu started having their own stages. That allowed the more popular members of the main teams to perform less often in the theater and to be on TV more often, to film, dramas, movies, and so on. Sosenkyo was the most infamous and important AKB48 and sister groups event. It was a yearly event where you would buy copies of a single to vote for your favorite member, and then the senbatsu for the next single would be composed of those members. And yeah, then throw away the CDs. Often, fans would buy hundreds of copies. The amount of money thrown into that election was quite spectacular. There were 10 elections in total. The last one was in 2018. There hasn't been new ones. There were reasons for that. I'll get to that later in the panel. But there was a lot of media attention to that event. Big draw for even non-fans would often watch. And even though the girl that got number one was at the forefront, the center position of the new single, it was also kind of a way to become kind of the face of the group for the coming year. So
now that Jacob's gone, rumors are everywhere.
So Janken Taikai was because in the election only members that were already popular had a better chance of people voting for them. Fans were complaining that girls that were less popular didn't really have a chance to appear on singles, so they did a rock paper scissors yearly tournament that would get to pick the members that that were part of the A side. Sadly, after the first year, it was very evident that at least for the first position, the center position of the yearly rock paper scissors single was rigged. It was very evidently the rig. It was always a girl that management wanted to push that would win, even though there were literally like dozens of other girls competing. And then in the last few years, it became non-rig again, but then it was no longer. It became like a subunit single. It was less of a big thing. Draft is an event that happened 3 times where instead of having management pick a batch of trainees, there would be like a pool of auditionees and team captains and team members like would pick draft style new members for their teams, and that was streamed online and so on, so you could watch the members doing that. Request Hour was actually the first big AKB48 event. It started in 2008, and it's the only one that is still being done. It's basically similar to Sosenkyo. By buying a single, you could vote for your favorite song, and then the first year was, I think, 50 or 30, and then like the year where they performed the most songs was 200, so the top 200 songs were performed in order, and then a girl having her, let's say, her solo song come in the higher ranks is like a way for her to get attention and so on. So that was another way. That is another way for fans to support their favorite members and to get songs that maybe aren't performed as much to be performed. I'm mentioning all of those things because things like Sosenkyo and Janken Taika and the Request Hour are big factors as to why AKB48 was so popular and had so many sales. Of course, the voting tickets in itself generate sales, but aside from that, like the way that you can kind of participate in creating the narrative for the group is a big draw, and that's that. And so Janken and Tiger also at like the rock paper scissors tournament had this fun aspect where all of the girls would decide their own costume, and they really made it into a big thing with an announcer and everything. So it's always like waiting to see what member will win. So moving on from that, why AKB48, why they're fun to get into, why I encourage people to become fans is, as I just said, all those events, and also there's been all sorts of other events that they've done. SK48, for instance, has done an event where each member got a 10-minute segment that she could do whatever she wanted with. Some girls sang, some girls played instruments, some girls did skits, some girls read poetry. So that was interesting. NMB48 recently had fans vote for their favorite costumes that the girls have worn. There's all sorts of, they're always coming up with new things. It's very dynamic. It's quite fun. Funny, weird, cute, and sexy. I mean, obviously it's idols. AKB48 became very big through variety TV shows where a lot of rather funny stuff happens, interesting, weird stuff. I did a poll before doing this panel on my Twitter list and asked how people got into the group and got some traction, and the most common answer was through their variety programs. They don't have as many right now for reasons I'll explain later, but their biggest one that lasted for, I think, like 11 years was AK Bingo. A large proportion of the episodes are subbed. You can find them online. It's very funny. They've done Michaiki specials that are very funny. I'll get onto that later, but I think the humorous aspect is what draws a lot of people in. The girls are cute. If you're into gravure, if you're into like sexier songs, there's plenty of that. AK48 has an interesting gap in that despite them being a cute idol group, they have a lot of darker songs. A lot of their dramas are quite dark, so they're not one-dimensional, and personally that was one of the things that drew me in. They have a quantity of media that is astounding. Of course, the music, there's like at this point probably around 2,000 songs all grouped together. They had dozens of variety shows. Most of them are over now, but they're still accessible, watchable. They've had several drama series. I'm thinking Magiska Gakkun as something like 7 seasons and spin-offs. They've done several video games. They had dating sims on the PSP and PS Vita. They have a million mobile games. There's an anime, AKB 0048. There's a manga. They've done musicals based on the dramas, based on the manga. Like, no matter what you're looking for, there's gonna be something for you. So that's one of the draw. It's also like, it's not like a 13 episode anime series where you're done watching it and then it's like, oh well, there's no more and you're kind of sad. Like, there's endless content. You can watch AKB48 stuff forever. You will never be done. That can be intimidating, but that's also great because there's never that grieving of being done with the franchise. So I'll go over the groups quickly. AKB48 is the original group. They have 5 teams, unlike the other groups. They have AK and B, which were the original 3 teams. They created Team 4 at some point, so they had somewhere to put their members that, you know, had been in the trainees for a while that they didn't really know what to do with. And Team 8 is a different concept. They have 47 members. They're treated almost as their own sister group rather than an AKB team. Each of the members represents a prefecture in Japan. Their concept originally was, rather than idols you can meet, it was idols that go meet you, and they were touring around Japan. It's been about like 6 years, and they're still not done with their original tour of the 47 prefectures. And they now have concurrent positions in the other AKB teams, so it's unclear what's gonna happen with that. It's not entirely impossible. They will get disbanded and morph into the other team, but not necessarily. AKB has the peculiarity that all of its A-sides have...
The Colts got a lot of gear locked.
All of its A-sides will, since maybe 2008, have members from the other sister groups show up in it. In a way, like AKB48 single sales, like you get a handshake ticket, and that includes you can pick a handshake ticket for members of the sister group, so they kind of benefit from the popularity of the sister groups as well. But the drawback from that is that you know, there's less room in the singles. There's less room in the A-sides and music videos for members of AKB itself. SK48 was the first sister group. They are very popular in the last election. They had the most girls ranking, and also it was girls from that group that had ranked 1 and 2. They're originally at least known for their good dancing. They're very high energy. They had, at least for a good while, the highest age average. And they're very funny. They have some very great variety shows, like every Friday night. It's hilarious. It's one series I recommend for people looking to get into the group. And MB48, based in Namba, they originally had the like sexier image, kind of associated with, you know, the more passionate side of Osaka. They did a lot of comedy. They are on all the other sister groups were originally managed and owned by the same company, AKS. However, NNB is owned and operated by Yoshimoto, which is a big comedy agency in Japan, like the biggest. So they're a franchisee, and now all of the sister groups are, but originally only NMB48 was. So they do a lot of like traditional Japanese comedies. They had a whole like TV series based around that. Their songs are, all of the groups do different kind of songs, but they had the funkier sound originally. HKT48 were for a lot of the time like the cute younger group. Of course, with time, you know, the members age, other groups get younger members, so but that was originally their image. Yeah, so not much to say about HKT48. They're very successful, quite popular. And GT48, there was the first group that was not named after a district, it's just named after the city of Niigata. They were extremely successful, like from the get-go. Their theme songs were winning Request Hour. Their girls were doing like super well. in the elections. I'm gonna get to that later, but GT48 had a huge scandal in early 2019, one that managed to drag almost all of the franchise under with them. I'm barely exaggerating here. It was very damaging, and it became kind of clear that their high success was at least partly due to some corrupt reasons. I will get to that later. I have a whole section about their scandal and its effect. STU48 is the first group that was not based on a city. Rather, it is based on a region, the Seto Inland Sea. So STU is for Setouchi. And their theater is on a ship that goes from city to city around like a few cities around the sea, like Hiroshima and so on. It took them a while to get their ship. Like, they were announced as this like cruise ship idol group and whatever, and then it took several years for the ship to be built and like the theater to be operational. So that put kind of a damper on their activities. They definitely have Lightning at 48, they have an image that was a bit more refined than the original AKB groups. Like, they, you know, more modest outfits. You can see them, they're on screen right now. Slightly more modest outfits, less flashy, a pure, mature image. Unlike every other group, these two groups do not have teams. And GT48 originally had teams. Following the scandals, their teams were disbanded and the group was just remerged as, like, you know, both teams, all the members together. STU48 never had teams. They tried a different approach. They somehow recently divided the group in units that have themes. Like, one of them is like the performance unit, the other one is like based on a specific region of the area that they operate in, so on and so forth. It's unclear how that's going to play out in the future. They're the most recent group in the franchise. But they're clearly trying a different approach. So that's about it. They're a little bit special. People were asking me, are you going to talk about the Sakamichi series? Also, the 46 groups. Or people that don't know, like, are they related? It's 48, 46. They are related. They have the same creator. Akimoto Yasushi created AKB48 and its sister groups. Also created and produces Nogizaka 46, Yaekisaka 46, and Hinata Sakura 46. And they were created originally as like a rival group to the 48 franchise. But in terms of rivalry, they did end up being a rival group because they ended up like outselling AKB48 eventually, but their concepts kind of move away from each other. Like, they also had a theater at first, but they didn't perform the same way. They don't have teams, but there is some overlap. They have done songs together, so there's a few AKB48 singles that have B-sides that are labeled Sakamichi AKB with members of both franchises. And at some point, some SK48 member was a part of Nogizaka, and so on and so forth. Like, and at first, there was really like no overlap between the fandoms. Like, Nogizaka fans were people that had never gotten into AKB48, but as time went on, a lot of AKB48 fans kind of moved onto the Sakamichi series. In a way, and you know, this is conjecture and not necessarily something we know for sure. It kind of appears that their producer also kind of his focus shifted, and to an extent, we could say that the 48 series suffered a little bit from it. But the Sakamichi series is thriving. That's not the only factor, but definitely it's not just some of the fans that moved on. Definitely some of the production staff are more focused on Sakamichi. So as I mentioned, there's overseas sister groups, the second of which was SNH48, based in Shanghai, China. However, they're not related anymore because in 2016 they kind of went rogue and did a bunch of stuff they weren't supposed to do, like start a whole bunch of other sister groups without getting approval from Tokyo for it. And then they were kind of like cut loose. Last Idol is another project that Kyoto SG, that televised TV show with idols. Equal Love and Not Equal Me. Sashihara Rino is a very famous former member of HKT48 who produces this group. The Coin Lockers, Kyoto SG again, idol rock band project with once again 1 million members because that's what he's about apparently. And there's a whole lot of things that are groups acts that are related because a lot of members, ex-members, went on to having music careers or creating new groups, producing new groups or songs. So even once you're done getting into AKB48 and sister groups, there's still more out there because it literally never ends. So I was saying earlier that AKB48 has a lot of variety shows. I could not count them all. Currently, AKB48 itself has 2 ongoing shows, which are Nemo Suterebi and a show of which the name escapes me, but it's some educational show. They used to have literally dozens going on at once. There's more comedy-oriented shows. There's more like project shows where it's like, oh well, this girl's gonna learn this new skill or something. When I did my poll about how people got into the franchise, a lot of people came from Produce 48. Produce 48 was part of the Produce series of show in Korea that aimed to create a temporary K-pop idol group. They did a collaboration with the AKB48 franchise, where half the trainees on the show were from AKB48 and sister groups, and the other half were Korean trainees. And this show was hugely popular. A lot of people came in recently into the fandom from the K-pop fandom through that show. So if you're into K-pop and you haven't watched it or whatever, I suggest it's apparently a very good gateway. I can't say for sure myself because I'd already been a fan a long time when I watched it, but I do think it's one way to get into them. They have a lot of interesting dramas. I didn't list all of them here. The Magiska Gakuen series is a series about girls fighting in schools. There's about, like, with the spin-offs, I think about like 6-7 seasons, movies, so on. There was Crow's Blood, which is an horror drama they did. They did a wrestling series with full-on like wrestling personas and so on, and also had like 2 live events to follow that. So if you like wrestling and you like idols, you might want to watch that. They really went all out, and there's many more. Games, as I said, they did a few dating sim kind of games. They have rhythm games on mobile. They have other weird dice card games, all sorts of. There's like about, I think, like 8 mobile games that are like functional right now. There is a manga series that's called AKB 1 on 49. If I recall correctly, I had a few people telling me they got into the fandom that way. There were not a whole lot of musicals, albeit like members do take part in musicals for other franchises, like they get to do outside jobs like that, but there was a Magiska Gakuen musical based on the manga as well. They had like at least 1 or 2 others if you're into musicals that way. There have been about like 8, I think, documentaries about like AKB48 proper, then some about the sister groups too, and there's been a bunch about like individual members. I know that a lot of people I talked to told me that they didn't really have respect for the group, and then they watched one of the documentaries and it changed that. I think that the documentary series is very well made. It's worth watching. And of course, I mean, they're an idol group, so the main thing is music and concert. And as I said, there's like thousands of songs at this point. There is the stages, there is the singles and with A-sides and B-sides, there's the albums, they've done songs for commercial and so on. They do the theater stages, they also do like tours and concerts and bigger venues because the theaters are very small. They're like a few hundred seats. It's a very intimate experience, which is part of the whole idols you can meet concept. So, I mean, I've posted earlier in the chat, the text channel, a list of resources. I will add to it, but if you're looking for any of those things, it will be in some of the resources in there. So if you want to start with one of the dramas, or if you'd like to look at some concerts, I've got links, and you can go for that. So how to get into the group? As I said, it's huge, it's intimidating. There's like literally thousands of hours of media. There's different methods that I've used to get people to get to know the group. The chronological method it's personally my favorite, but it's also kind of like the hardest. Is to just watch everything they've ever released in chronological order, be it like variety shows, TV series, or whatever. Then you know everything. You will have the full knowledge, the full experience. However, it's a very daunting task because, as I said, it's just humongous, and you will absolutely like fall in love with some members that like graduated like 7 years ago, and some of the stuff from early AKB, like comedy stuff, did not age super well. Inappropriate stuff with younger girls is one thing. There's been a few blackface comedy skits. It like not all of it is great, but so if you can get past that, it's still my favorite method, but it's not necessarily like the one most people will go for. The one girl method is basically just watch a few recent episodes of something, or a concert, or a live performance, or even just look at pictures. Pick a girl that catches your eye. She might not end up being your favorite member, but like it's a start. And then you look up which shows she's been on, what performances she's done, and so on, and you start from there. And you'll pick up like through osmosis the names of her teammates, and so on and so forth. And but if you do that and you pick a recent member, there's a lot of stuff about the history that fans will talk about that will confuse you because you won't have necessarily like context for it. You can, of course, mix and match those methods. You can decide to pick just one show, like, oh, I'll watch all of AG Mango and nothing else, or I'll just watch like all of the Team A theater performances, or you can just pick one thing and do that chronologically, or you can, mix and match. Or you can also just start now and look at, what's the next like sub episode of something that comes out, and just watch that and go from there. What's the next performance, and just watch it and kind of, forget about the past and just try to keep up with what's current. You'll be very confused at first probably, and you will not know the history. So those are different ways to get into the group. I think that, probably like picking one girl or one group or one team or one show and starting with that is probably the best way. I personally have my favorite things about AKB48. I'm a big fan of Magiska Gakuen. I'm a big fan of certain teams, certain girls, but to each their own. It's about finding like the one thing that will draw you in. So I made a brief history recap. I'll try to go over it fast because I'm already more than halfway through and I still have a lot of stuff to talk about. But basically, AKB48 is created in 2005. They announced the members, and a few months later, the Team A is created, and they perform at the theater. 2006, a second team. They have their first indie single. They have 2 indie singles before they go major. And their first concert. Still Pretty Light, and the third team, so they're finally like, the full AKB trifecta. And then they announce trainees because they get into a point where what if a girl is sick, what if a girl is on TV, what if a girl and then she can't perform at the theater, who do we have to film for her? So they need trainees, and they know that some girls would leave eventually if it already started happening, so they get new girls, but they don't put them directly in the teams, they keep them as trainees, as under girls. And 2008, you see the start of the big events with the first Request Hour, the first sister group, and 2009 is when really their success started. So they've already been around at that point for a solid a bit over 3 years. That's the first year where you get an AKB48 single that sells like 100,000 copies. That's when they had the first election. Their first daily and weekly #1 on the Oricon chart. That's also a point in time where they create another sister group that I didn't mention earlier because it does not exist anymore, but SDN48. For Saturday Night 48, they were a more mature, more adult sister group. They shifted some of the older girls from AKB48 into it and had all new members. The performances were 18 plus only at first. They had racier songs with more sexual themes and so on and so forth. And the 2009 shuffle, where they basically took the girls from the 3 teams and switched them teams. In 2010, it kind of confirms their success. They're not just a one-hit wonder. They get their first monthly #1 and they get their first million seller, which in 2010 was a rare feat. And they create another sister group and they got their first yearly #1, which was also like their first million. And that's when they do the first rock paper scissors tournament, which attracted some positive media attention. 2011 is kind of like more of the same, more new sister groups. That's when the rival group Nokizaka 46 was created. That's when they did Team 4 because they had a bunch of trainees that had been around for a while that were gaining popularity, but there weren't enough members leaving since they were so successful to kind of give them a chance to shine, so they make a new team for them. They have their first overseas group in Jakarta, Indonesia. And then 2012, their dream from the beginning was to have a concert at Tokyo Dome, and that's the year they achieved that. And so their first Tokyo Dome concert, another team shuffle, they disband Team 4 for whatever reason. I don't think any of the fans really ever understood why. Create another overseas group. That's when they disband SDN48. I think it wasn't seeing quite the success they were hoping. They had done they were trying to venture into K-pop, with the style of music, and they had some Korean in the lyrics, and I think they were kind of aiming to break into that market, and since that didn't work, they just kind of dropped the group altogether.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's kind of, people consider that from 2010 to maybe 2013 is really the peak of AKB before they started declining. So 2013 is much of the same. I mentioned the concert at Nissan Stadium because Nissan Stadium is the largest venue in Japan with 78,000 seats. So that was their biggest concert ever. They also had a dome tour where they once again performed at Tokyo Dome, but also at Nagoya Dome, Fukuoka Dome, Sapporo Dome, and I'm missing one, but anyway, and they recreated Team 4 again, and that's when they had the first draft. 2014, they shuffled the teams again, but that time they shuffled the teams of the sister groups too, and they shift some girls from sister group to sister group. That's when they had conquered positions with Nokizaka 46. That was a confusing time for fans. There was just so much happening at the same time. They create Team 8, they just add 47 girls at once, but that's kind of the end of the peak. It's hard to tell if it was just people moving on after too much of the same, or if all those moves, all the team shuffles, too many groups at once, it making it, as you guys are saying, very intimidating. All those new girls maybe kind of drove people away. It became too big, and their resources became stretched thin, and that will become evident. They create another sister groups. They shuffle the teams again. They're clearly trying to find their place. They keep shuffling the teams. Not much really happened. That's when SNH48 goes rogue. So the members that had concurrent positions in SNH48 kind of as mentor figures are shipped back to Japan. Yet in 2017, yet another sister group, another shuffle. At this point, it's a lot of like more of the same. There weren't many new breakthroughs. Maybe that's why a lot of people got bored. And finally, in 2018, a bit more stuff happened. They do another venture in China since SNH48 went rogue. They create AKB48 Team SH for Shanghai. So that creates this weird situation. We're in the same city. You have like two groups with the same concept and the same origin, but that are not the same franchise. Also grouped in Taipei, and that was the last election. And at that point in time, SKE48, which was in a way like the biggest of the sister groups, is sold by AKS to Keyholder, and which made it like a publicly traded company under the name SKE48 Hank. And what that means, well, why they did that is, as I said before, with all the sister groups and the overseas sister groups, their resources were getting kind of stretched in. AKB48 went from releasing like 5 singles a year to 4, and then suddenly it was less, and they went from having like a dome concert every summer to just like doing smaller venues. You could see, just to answer a question in the chat, I do have theories as to why no Senbatsu elections, and we will get to that very quickly, because it's more than a theory. It's pretty certain. But one of those factors is that SKE48 was acquired by Keyholder, so like big events that involve all of the groups, now that they're not owned by the same owner. That was always the case for NMB48, but it was like that from the get-go, whereas like SKE48 being acquired, it creates all sorts of, if they want to work together, put on an event together, be it So Sankyo, be it a concert, they have to, sign contracts, and there is all that extra complication that wasn't there initially when it was all under the same company. So yeah, the resources were stretched in. By letting go of SKE48, they could make a good chunk of money, but they had a deal where the producer of AKB48, if the Keyholder, well, the shares of the SKE48 Inc. Dropped too low in price, he would make up for the difference. So they tried to avoid that happening. It still happened for reasons I'm about to come to, and also because of the pandemic that we're going through right now. So the last of history, 2019 and the NGT48 scandal, because that is pretty much the only thing that happened in 2019, and that was important, and also it tells where the history of the group is going. What the NGT48 scandal was, a scandal in which a member got assaulted in her dorm room by people that had been brought in by, of course there's different versions of the stories, but I'm gonna go with her version of the facts and what's kind of agreed on in the fandom. So basically many of her fellow members were not respecting the no dating rule and had men over at the dorms. Basically they were dating fans, and one of them wanted to get with her, so basically he was let into her room by fellow members and their boyfriends. There is more to it. It goes a lot deeper because as it came out, those fans were, had ties to organized crime, had ties to the media. The girls that did that to her, that had ties to, like, their families had ties to government organizations that financed NGT48, it became a very big deal that attracted a huge amount of media attention, not only in Japan but internationally as well. It made the 48 franchise look extremely bad for good reasons. These are young girls that are entrusted to, this agency, and they failed to protect her. They were obviously letting girls have fans over, which had for consequence that a member got assaulted, and they, instead of apologizing or whatever, they had her apologize for creating a commotion. They denied all of the events true and true. They never admitted that anything had happened. They denied involvement of other members, even though it was quite clear from what fans were able to dig up that they were involved, and she was saying the truth. So that looked very bad. They lost a lot of sponsorships, both NGT48 directly, but also the franchise as a whole, and that is the main reason why we didn't get an election in 2019, and why we likely wouldn't have gotten one this year as well, is because they haven't recovered from that, and at that point in time they were very far from it. And they didn't even release singles for a while after that. They weren't doing much at all. They were being very quiet. They were not going to do a large scale thing like that, especially one where what fans would have voted for those members that believed their fellow member into. She left the group eventually. She graduated along with another member, and then those girls that did that were in some cases popular members, and if they had an election, those girls could have ranked high. The kind of media attention that would have brought back after all of that was not good. It also affected clearly their success. They lost a lot of. They weren't able to renew their contracts for a lot of TV shows and so on and so forth. That's why, they used to have 1 million variety shows. AK Bingo, which lasted for 11 years, ended very likely because of that, as well as AKB Show that had lasted for, I think 6 years. Basically, that scandal caused them, I don't want to say almost everything, but caused them a lot of their media presence, a lot of the respect they had, and instead of being a household name, they became kind of a franchise you don't really want to work with. And that's when HKT48 and NGT48 were sold to by Mercury and Flora. Basically, HKT48 was acquired by Mercury, and GT48 was acquired by Flora, both of which are subsidiaries of Sprout, which is one and the same company, which is they both belong to the same company. That was this effort to divest and separate each group was kind of probably an effort to save the brand. If we just separate all groups, then we can be we're not responsible for the weight. By kind of separating each of the sister groups into their own entity, legally speaking, but also morally speaking, it allowed AKS to just, that basically if one of the groups doesn't take everyone down with them. That was kind of given that the effect that the NGT48 scandal had. But so yeah, those are the two main factors as to why we didn't get elections. Is it wouldn't have looked good, the optics were not good, and also because since now all of the groups belong to different companies, doing that sort of collaborative event is a bit more complicated. 2020, I'm saying nothing because, well, of course, with the pandemic, a lot of the stuff that had been planned is not happening anymore, but I mean, there's still stuff happening. There's concerts, old concerts, or whatever that happened before the pandemic hit. They're still doing screens, all sorts of stuff, but nothing noteworthy. And basically, one thing I didn't super mention is graduation. Graduation is when a girl leaves the group. There's other ways to leave the group, like some girls will withdraw or be kicked out, usually because of scandals or health issues or things like that. But a proper graduation is when a girl, like, you know, forewarns the fans, like, okay, I want to leave the group, and then, like, in a matter of like weeks, months, the longest was 1 year, she will leave. And the reasons for leaving the group vary a lot. Some of them just have been in the group for a while, want to move on. Some of them find out what they really want to do. Some of them want to go back to a private life. Some of them realize that being in the entertainment industry is not for them. The ones that do stay in the entertainment industry have done a wide variety of things. Most of them will do several stuff, but you know, they'll be variety talents on TV. A lot of them play in stage plays. That is like probably the most common outcome, I'd say. The most successful ones manage to become drama or movie actresses, usually like frontline members that had a decent like acting career while in the group. Some of them had solo singing career or created or joined other groups. Many just retire from public life, marry, have kids, whatever. Some go into Gravier specifically. Like a lot of them will do some of it on the side, but some of them have like went full on, like, you know, like bikini modeling, DVDs and so on. A few when they see you out. A lot of them being the ones that were cast in the AKB48 anime, and a handful of members have gone into porn, which is something that you know, some people felt was quite scandalous. Okay, so speaking of scandals, I just went over the NGT48 scandal and its impact. In the resource list that I posted, I will add more about that because it's really an overview that I did, but it goes a lot deeper in the implications about, like, you know, the ties to organized crime and things like that. But in general, like, there is a love ban rule. While it's understood that they're not necessarily like obliged to not date, it's pretty clear that if they get caught, there's consequences. The consequences tend to vary a lot. It's unclear why they vary. Some girls are left alone, some girls are kicked out of the group. There was the infamous incident where Minagishi Minami shaved her head in repentance and was demoted to a trainee status after she was a first generation member. Just to be clear, she was probably mostly demoted for shaving her head and making a huge deal, more than for the dating thing, because they never did anything quite as drastic for anyone else. As I said, former members becoming AV stars, like now it's become a bit more normalized, but like the first time it happened, people felt it was quite scandalous, especially since the member who did that said that, you know, she had been like led to sleep with producers when she was like in the group. Unclear if it's true or not. Unclear if she means like by KS, by her own agency or whatever. It's not the only claim of the type that has come up. Attacks on members in 2015, I believe, to a guy at a handshake event. A guy came with a saw and attacked two of the members and some staff members that were trying to protect them. He was arrested. He said that he wasn't like a crazy fan or anything. He just thought that was a place that was going to be crowded where he could hurt people. But it definitely led to a tightening on security, and it's kind of like appalling that there wasn't better security before that, and that, you know, that this could have happened in the first place. But like the members were mostly okay, like they were slightly injured, but one of them ended up leaving the group as a consequence of the trauma that she felt after, you know, like the trauma that she felt after being attacked with a saw, which is fair. Other scandals have been like, you know, like some of the members' like private social media accounts were discovered where they would, you know, be bitching about other members, or would be, yes, a saw, like an actual saw. that it's not even, it's probably not even the craziest thing that happened in the group, but like person uses handshake attack to commit saw crime is a thing that happened. So yeah, and like connected to this, and I think that reveals some amount of like bullying between members, which, to be fair, if you got hundreds of teenage and young women together, is kind of sadly bound to happen. But the NGT48 scandal was clearly a case of that went like way too far. Bullying is never okay or whatever, but it led to like someone being assaulted, and
I don't
yeah.
have a lot of respect for deer.
So that's not all of them. It's a brief overview. There's been like so many scandals. There's been like, you know, other stuff like, oh, mom of said member is involved with organized crime, or all sorts of smaller scandals. But the impact, like, there's always an impact on scandals. It makes the company look bad. It's not always like the fault of the girls or even of the management, but it in the case of the NGT scandal, the consequence was kind of well deserved, because they failed to protect their member and they chose to protect the bullies and the perpetrators of the crime instead, because, well, partly the connection of the families of the involved members, and, you know, because of the connections of the perpetrators, the assaulters. So obviously that's just not good. It wasn't good optics. They did not handle it well. They fired a theater manager over it, but they never came out and said clearly what happened, when clearly everybody knew what had happened. They really didn't take responsibility. There was reasons for that, like financially and so on, and because of like the connections some of those members had, but it's inexcusable, and it's a stain that will like stay with the group forever at this point. So yeah, I'm gonna look at how much time I've got left. I got 3 minutes left. So very quickly, thank you. The plan explained, I've been over a lot of this, but why is AKB48 less popular than it used to? It's just, you know, popularity fades with time. You can't stay on top of the world forever. That's just a thing. They had a clear center for most of the groups at first. Achan for AKB48, Janina for SK48, so on and so forth. And once that member graduated, in the case of Achan, it's kind of like they couldn't decide if they wanted like to find a replacement for her and have a new, like, you know, face of the group, or they were like, oh, we can't put all of our eggs in the same basket like that again, so let's just rotate centers. And they keep like kind of going back and forth between those two strategies, and it's just very confusing for fans, and it's not clear like what they're going for. As I said, the producer is quite focused on the Sakamichi series. There clearly like is like favorite project at this time, so the resources were stretched in by too many groups. That is gonna get better with the you know, separated, the different sister groups being owned by different companies now. So hopefully, you know, AKB48 will be more AKB48 focused. We might see more releases. The effect is already felt in groups like HKD48 and SK48. They're getting more TV shows, more opportunities in general, especially local jobs to their areas, than they were in the last few years before. So it seems to be working. Remains to be seen, but hopefully the same happens to AKB48 proper. It remains to be seen. They played it kind of safe for a while. They did the same events, like, you know, like, oh, we'll do handshake events so we sell more CDs, or we'll do the election once a year or stuff. They would do very formulaic, like, oh, we'll have a cute graduation cherry blossom song in the spring, then a fun summer single, then we'll do a cooler, darker release in the fall, and they had like that kind of pattern every year. So like that's one way that people kind of got bored. They weren't trying anything new, but then again, when they did, they would get criticized for it. So yeah, that is it. I finished this panel with just a few slides about why I love AKB48 so much. They have very beautiful music videos, also extends to concert, beautiful concept costumes, a lot of budget, especially in the tiers. Their music videos, even for B-sides, are just really fun to look at visually. So there's that. I like AKB48 because AKB48 gets dark. I've said this before, but the gap between like the concept of the cute idol, I should have gifs that are moving in here and they're not. I don't understand why. Oh, because my computer froze. And as I didn't say, but AKB48 has a lot of girl-on-girl action, which I personally find quite great. So I'll leave you guys on that, but if you're ever also a fan of girls making out with girls on stage, AKB48 might be the franchise for you. So thank you all for coming to my panel, and if you have any questions, feel free to come to me in the chat or on Twitter, and I'll be happy to answer all your questions on where to find stuff, how to get in the group. There's plenty of very nice fans also that I can point you to for, you know, sister groups that I know less about. And yeah, so I will also, like, as I said, I posted resources on the chat. I will link them again. I will link this PowerPoint as well if you'd like to look at it again. Thank you for coming to my panel. I hope you
Later. Common team.
Okay, let's see. DO3. Soft key. Active games. For courses.
Hey everyone, welcome to PuroCon 2020, and we're here today. We have a very special guest. Please welcome Asaka.
Wow! Hey guys! Are you guys having fun? Yay! いいたします。
Hey, it's so great to have you with us, Asuka. And actually, wanted to introduce to all of our fans. We might have some people that are watching that might not be as familiar with you or some of your work. So, if you wanted to give a brief introduction.
OK。私、朝香はですね、アジアに咲く花と書いて朝香と言います。いろいろツイッターとかでね、ふざけたツイートなんかもしておりますけど、ちゃんとした歌手をやっております。でたくさん海外の方もツイッターフォローしていただいて、結構英語とかでもねリプライもらえたりして嬉しいです。これからも、ゲームとかねアニメとかもいろいろ歌っていきたいなと思っていますけど、こうやってね今回リモートで参加するっていうのは私もイベントに出演するっていうのはちょっと初めてなので、どういう風に進んでいくのかドキドキしてます。
That's awesome. And I'm sure the fans are feeling the exact same way. This is the first time for a lot of people having this online convention. People would actually rather be like a real convention now in their cosplay. And so, bouncing off of that, I wanted to ask you, people aren't going out, they're not able to go to events, but they're able to enjoy something like this. How has, this whole crisis affected you personally?
いやもうなんかやっぱ日本とかではこういう風にラジオの収録とかをリモートでやったりするけど、やっぱりなんだろうな、まだ慣れてないよね。やっぱ直接その人とお話ししたいなと思うし、でもやっぱり何よりみんなもそうだと思うけど、アーティスト自身もみんなと会いたいの直接。だからやっぱりちゃんとねこっちに行ってお話ししたかったし Q&A もやりたかったし、なんならライブもやりたかったけど、今のこのご時世を考えるとこれが一番ベストなのかなって思うので、今日は歌をね直接ねこうやってお届けすることはできないんですけど、何かしら自分の言葉をね、届けることによって一人でも多くの方に元気とね勇気を与えることができるように、朝からしいねちょっと30分をお届けできたらいいなと思ってます。
Yes, the fans are very excited to see you, hear from you from Everett Festival.
Bumpy roads do tend to make me gassy,
just like you
so
said,
crack a
we're
window.
not able to see you in person, but being able to do something
Hope you drive better than you shoot.
a great,
That was a joke.
substitute
Working on my
to
piano
be able to
skills.
enjoy the convention. And I wanted to ask you
This place
along
is
this
metal.
more
I come here all the time. I don't like it much when I come back with the truck all fucked up.
This time, or have you been trying to learn anything new? Have you picked up any new hobbies while sheltering at home?
My scope feels off
いや
again.
もう実はですね、
Ain't that something?
喉のポリープの手術を4月の末にしたんですね。で今こうやってお話しすることがリハビリを今も続けてるんですけど、頑張ったおかげでここまで回復して、今の歌をね前みたいにもう存分好きなように歌える状態には回復はしてないんですけど、やっぱりねすごく感じたのが
Can we all agree to never use the word discharge when we're talking about weapons? Actually, let's just forget that word altogether.
今までだったら
Bullets, maybe coffee.
こ
That's
の
all I
まま
need.
寝てたけど、僕は喉を手術してからもう厳重に保湿をして加湿器をつけて、なんかお水をねたくさん飲んだりとかして、なるべく乾燥しないように心がけたりだったりとか、そういうのを心がけるようになっていったので、本当にすごく一人のアーティストとしてまた成長することができたかなって思ったし、すごくある意味貴重な経験だったのかなって。なのでこのおうち期間の間はなるべくやっぱ喉をお休みさせてたりしたかな。多分いずれもっともっとリハビリを続けていったらどんどんもっと喉も回復してもう好きなように歌えると思うし、なんなら前よりのパフォーマンスよりももっと力強い素敵なものをお届けできると思うので、ここはもうポジティブにね、こんなご時世ですけどポジティブになってこういうお時間も自分のスキルを磨き上げる時間に使っていきたいなと思ってます。
That's great, yeah, and we're so glad that your recovery is going well, and we can't wait to hear you at full power again when we can hear you live.
Thank you so much.
So actually, we have a few questions from your fans and from some of the Kurokan staff, and I want to go through some of these and see, I guess, get some feedback on your thoughts on some of these questions. So first off, wanted to know, you went to Manila, Philippines last year.
Yeah.
Can you tell us how it was? What did you like best from the trip?
Lobster だからいやそれアメリカにもあるんだよあるんだけど日本にはないから本当だったらもっと美味しいフィリピン名物を食べればよかったんだけどライブ終わりにレッドロブスター見つけちゃったからちょっとお願いをしてロブスター食べさせてくださいって言ってフィリピンなんだけどちょっとロブスターを堪能しましたでねそのフィリピンの街中に遊園地があったんですよ結構大きいねその遊園地に入って結構ね難易度の高いだいぶ怖めのアトラクションに友達のミスアンドロイドのキホちゃんと一緒にアトラクションに行きましたすごいね
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was very fun. もうぐるぐるぐるぐる回るのこうやってグワングワングワングワンってだからね2分ぐらい続いたら結構長かったんだよ2分間ずっとぐるぐるぐるぐるぐる
So was it safe or?
Cycle.
めっちゃ怖かっためっちゃ怖かった結構昔からある遊園地だったのかところどころ年季が入ってるというか錆びてるところもあってなんかこう物理的に怖かった本当に落ちてるんじゃないかなっていうでもそういうのもまあなんかいいなと思いましたね本当に普通の街中にボーンって遊園地があったから逆に興味が湧いちゃって日本だとなんかねすごいこうディズニーランドのガンみたいなするスタジオガンっていうのがあるからこう街中にひょんとか立ってるのが珍しくて行ってみたんですごいそれは楽しかったですね
That sounds crazy. And we have some of those here in the US too. なんかそのカーニバルみたいな感じでたまには出てて決まってになって So that sounds kind of interesting but also scary at the same time.
It was so scary. 本当に怖かった本当に怖かった
So I know you've been a fan of Anisong for several years and you even attended events and you actually turned that fandom into a career. So can you give us some more insight on your journey into becoming an Anisong artist and be able to share the stages with other fellow artists such as at Anisama?
もう本当にようやく夢を形にできたんだなっていうのがまず一つなのとこの夢がいつか終わってしまうんじゃないかなっていう不安もあったりしてそれがこうやって天秤に吊るされてる感じですねこうやってだからこうやっぱ自分がアニソンを歌ってきて一番嬉しかったのがやっぱりアニ様に出られたことだしステージに立った瞬間こう今まで自分がアニソン歌手として活動してきた年数もありますけどそれを目指してアニ様とアニソン歌手を目指してこうオーディションとかねカラオケとかいろいろ練習してた時のこう努力が一気に報われた気がして本当に努力を諦めなければ必ずこうやって夢を形にできるんだなって実感したしだからこそ自分が抱いてる夢っていうのを、諦めないこと、自分がデビューしたから終わりじゃなくてデビューしたからじゃあもう大きいところでライブやろうとかそういうふうにどんどんこう自分を、大きくさせるためにも夢を絶やさないことが一番大事だなっていうのはアニ様のステージに立って思いましたね。アニ様がゴールじゃないっていうアニ様は自分の中での、通過点としてじゃあアニ様でトリを務めるとかテーマソングの作詞をするとかその夢の先の先の先を考えれば考えるほど、自分もステップアップしていくのかなと思うのでそれはすごく勉強になりましたね。
That's so inspirational. So
Dinner
actually,
soon.
speaking about inspiration, what are some of your biggest sources of inspiration when it comes to your music?
What?
うわーなんだろうなー、すごい難しい質問ですけど、やっぱりやっぱり音楽のジャンルっていろいろあるけど、その中でも自分はアニソンというジャンルにすごく刺激を受けているので、この好きっていうのは、自分がこう例えば今 K-POP 好き、今ジャズが好きってこうやって動いたとしても、やっぱり最終的にはやっぱアニソンだよなってアニソンに戻ってくるんですよね。だからやっぱりアニソン聴くと、自分はこういう曲歌いたいなとか、この歌がたまにできるかもとか、なんか例えばこう洋楽とかでこの歌い方かっこいいの真似しようって思ったとしても、その洋楽の歌はそのために作られてるんですよ。英語のために英語ベースで作られてるから、それを日本語でしかもスピードの速いアニソンに乗せるってなったら、もうかなり近いんですよね。
If we hit a piggy
ジャンルが
roadblock,
全然違うから。
all right, man, I'm in it. Clench it onto the seat. Let's do this.
ジャンルが違うっていうところからインスピレーションもらったとしても、アニソンに反映できないことが多いんだよね。
Sorry, Fred. Not really though.
インスピレーションもらったりとか、その先輩方のアニソンを聴いて刺激をもらうっていうのがすごくやっぱり自分がもっともっといいアニソンを歌うための力になるかな。
That's awesome. Can't wait to see what you will come up with next.
Thank
So,
you.
on a different note, it's been about a year since you went to North America, and I remember
I don't think they like us very much. It's all fun and games, right, Hurt?
So, some people are curious, how long did your stash of snacks last you until you ran out?
It takes years. 多分1年ぐらいかかったかな。ラッキーチャームを5箱買って帰ったんですよね。で、あといろいろこう
You got a guardian angel,
ミ
that's
シ
for
と
sure.
かいろんなお菓子をバーって買って帰ったので、まずそのラッキーチャームを消化するっていうところから始めたね。一番賞味期限が短かったの、あの中で。でそれを5箱と毎朝もうラッキーチャームを、牛乳と一緒に食べて、でマシュマロが美味しいんだよね。
Oh yeah.
だから私調べたの検索してマシュマロだけのやつを。そしたらなんかあるみたい、マシュマロ多めのラッキーチャーム。あるんだってね。それを買えばよかったと思って。だからリベンジします。次アメリカ行った時にはマシュマロが多めのラッキーチャームを買うっていう。
Did you guys hear that? So now you know, for a gift what to get us that kind of stuff.
違う、すごかったんだよ。プレゼントで、うわーってすごいもらって。
Oh really? Okay.
嬉しいですけど、帰りの荷物がすごかった。
Oh.
空から家まで送りましたよ。
Oh okay.
使えないと思って、日本のね、空港から。
No surviving a hit like that.
だって行きの荷物よりも帰りの荷物がもう5、6倍陰の量になってたんで、次回ももっとね上手にお買い物しなきゃなって反省しました。
Okay.
I can see you.
So on a different topic, we're wondering what do you listen to music in your own private time? And I'm guessing you listen to a lot of Ani-song based on what you talked about. What was the last song that you listened to your own personal story?
Nice question. ちょっと待って。見るね。私の履歴を。一番最後はモーニング娘。さん。
Okay.
Only You っていう曲。ね。Do you know it?
Yes.
好きなの？
No, Miss.
I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
いや私ね実はアニソンも好きなんですけど、ハロープロジェクトさんも大好きで、よく く頻繁に聞いてるんですね。なんでかっていうと、稲妻イレブンっていうサッカーアニメがあるんですけど、そのエンディングをビリーズ工房さんっていうハロプロに所属するアイドルさんが歌ってて、それをきっかけでハロプロさんも好きになって、今は本当アニソンも聞くけど、まあハロプロさんも聞いて、なんか自分で振り付け覚えたりとかダンスとか、このおうち期間中もね、ずっとライブ見てたから踊れることも
So I know you mentioned before that you like Momose Rio from the Idolmaster Million Live series. So some people were wondering, what do you like about Rio and how did you become her producer?
That's a very funny question. まずお姉さんのところが好きなんですよね。そのやっぱりアイマス、まあ、ミリオンもあとなんだろうな、普通のね結構妹キャラが多い気がするんですよね。プロデューサーとして育てたいな、守ってあげたいなっていうちょっと母性本能が働く感じのキャラクターが多いと思うんですけど、例えば無印でいうと三浦あずさとか、あとそのミリマスだとリオちゃんとか百瀬リオとかね、そうするとお姉さん系なんかちょっと守ってほしいな、守りたいなじゃなくて守ってほしいなとか、ご飯作ってほしいなとかそういうちょっと逆に相手に母性を感じるっていうところに惚れたんですよね。いいお姉さんだなっていう。なので私ミリオンだとリオ姉が好きなんですけど、無印のアイマスだとあずさ推しなんですよ。だから基本自分が、まあ、年下キャラというか、なんか結構まあはっちゃけた感じのキャラなので、やっぱりちょっとこうあやしてほしいね、よしよしよしってねしてほしいから、そうそう、やっぱりお姉ちゃんキャラがね好きなんです。でしかもなんで好きになったかっていうと、そこだけじゃなくて声優やね、このリオちゃんの声優をやってらっしゃる山崎理香子さんとすごく仲良くさせていただいてるんですよ。実は私がアニソン歌手としてデビューする前にまあタレントラジオパーソナリティとしてね活動をしてた半年間があるんですよ。その半年の間にちょっと2人でね1対1のこう2人で届ける番組っていうのがあって、そこでもう本当なんだろう、何も知らない右も左もわからない謎の高校生の女の子に対してすっごく丁寧にもうラジオの撮り方っていうのはこうやって撮るんだよとか、すごいもう1から10まで教えていただいて、本当に素敵な方だなと思って、でこの人って何やってる方なんだろうと思っていろいろ調べていったら、このアイドルマスターの百瀬リオやってる。と思ってすごいもう奇跡を感じたんですよ。これはもうミリオンに押すしかないと思って山口理香子さんをきっかけにミリオンをやり始めたっていう、そういう経緯が。
Wow, what a great story. So, on a amusing question we got from one of your fans, what is your favorite English Twitter meme?
いいねいいね、I love it. ジョジョの To be continued.
Another place I trained for the games. I used to practice maintaining aim on skydivers who jumped here.
あとWii あるじゃん、ボーリングのゲームわかる？あれで女の子がこうやってブランコに乗ってたらブランコから落ちちゃってこうやって転がるんだけど、その転がったまんま Wii のボーリングゲームになってボーリングのピンを倒すっていう動画があるんですよ。あれはすごく面白かったね。私結構YouTuber のね、すごい大好きなんですよ。で彼の動画をもうほぼ毎日見てて、そうやって海外の方の YouTuber を見ることによって自分の英語スキルのもっと磨きをね上げたいなと思って結構見てるんですけど、結構ミームが出てくるから彼の動画の中でねそうそうそう、だからそれで結構目にする機会がありましたね。だから日本ではあんまりそういうミームズっていう文化があんまり浸透してない。 日本だと文章ツイー
Okay.
ト自体がねツイート
Yeah.
文章が流行ったりするんだけど、あくまでもその動画がこうやって回っていくことはそんなにないから、本当に海外独特の文化だな。
So next question here, I know you mentioned the past you really like horror games. Are you currently playing any games right now or otherwise?
そうだな。最近、何やってるかな。この間はチェイソ
Okay.
を、久々にオンラインで
Oh,
やり
wow.
ました。で、あとはホラーゲーム以外だとだいぶやってますね。でもやっぱりアメリカはスマブラの方が人気かな。
I think they're both pretty popular here, yeah. Yeah. Your whole into it.
そっかそっか。あと、あつ森は今ね。
Oh, yeah.
森は、やってましたね。
Yeah,みんなここもやってる。
そうだよね。なんか日本もだけど、海外もすっごいあつ森で盛り上がってて、役者の方がね、YouTube ランキングに来たって言って結構話題になったりとか。
Yeah, it's a great way to keep in touch.
いや本当にそうやってなんかファンの人と交流する一つのねツールにもなったと思うし、すごくなんかみんながゲームをもっともっと好きになってくれた気がして、ゲーマーとして、多分こういうおうち時間があったから、ゲームにこうスポットライトが当たりやすくなったと思うんだけど、なんかこうやってね、例えば毎日がどんどんもっと平和になっていってお家を出る機会が増えたとしても、変わらずゲームを続けてほしいなと思うんですよね。ゲーマーとしてはね、こういう時だからこそっていうのじゃなくて、こういう時でもああいう時でも必ずなんか1日に1回じゃなくてもいいから、なんかたまにゲームを触ってくれたらいいなっていうちょっと気持ちがあったりしますね。
Definitely. So, I know last year at Comic-Con you released a cosplay photo book. What was that experience like? And have you cosplayed before that?
実はコスプレイヤーとしてデビューする前は活動する時期があったんですよ。アニメとかが漫画とかが好きだったので、もう一線超えちゃったんですよね。もう好きだけじゃなくて、そのキャラクターになってみたいっていう。それでコスプレデビューをして、ああいうコミックマーケットとかに足を運んで3日間全部コスプレをしたこともあります。
Oh, wow.
そうなんです。っていうのもあって、やっぱりもともとコスプレをやってたからこそ、アーティストデビューしても、そのコスプレをなんかいつか披露できる機会がないかなってずっと思っていたところ、写真集を出しませんかっていう、こういう案が出て、もうぜひやらせてくださいって言って実現した感じですね。本当に海外の人にもアメリカに住んでる人にもちょっとぜひね見てほしいです。これって2の海外で届けられたらできると思うので、気になった方はぜひちょっとあたかもね公式サイトに行って、コスプレ写真集ねゲットしてほしいです。
Okay, awesome. Yeah.
私の大好きな春日のコスプレもさせてもらいました。
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm sure fans can't wait to see that.
なのでぜひねちょっとゲットしてほしいです。
Yes. So, are there any types of songs that you haven't performed yet, but you want to try in the future?
ラップ。
Oh, wow.
Nicki Minaj, yeah. ああいう感じでちょっとやってみたいなって。
Okay.
アニソンでラップってやっぱりあんまり浸透しきってないと思うし、私自身も一回もトライしたことがないので、やっぱりちょっと英語ができるから、英語のラップをやってみたり、それこそ本当にニッキー・ミナージュさんみたいになんか「What's up, yeah?」みたいな「アナコンダ」みたいなちょっとやってみたいですよね。
Definitely. And on a different note, are there any artists that you would like to collaborate with in the future?
すごく迷うんですけど、最近だと声優の伊藤美久ちゃん。
Oh, wow, yeah.
と 歌いたいなって、歌いたいっていうか横にいてくれるだけでいいです。歌ってる彼女を近くで見たい。あとやっぱりアンジュラの2人ともコラボしたいなっていう気持ちが強くて、私が大好きなアニサマで、そのパクさんがしっかりアニサマの歌を歌って気持ちいいから這い上がってこいよっていう言葉を聞いて、アニサマ出たいなって思ったから、あの2人、自分の夢をこう与えてくださったお二人と一緒に歌うってなったら、その夢の中のまた夢が叶う形になるのかなって思うので、お二人と一緒に3人でねステージ立って起死行進曲をね、
You think things are gonna actually get
私
better?
も
Or is this just
大
how
好
it
きな
is
曲な
now?
ので、それをカバーしてハツさんのドラム叩いてもらってでアツコさんのデュエットしてっていうような幸せなステージがいつかまたねできるようになったらいいなって思いますね。こんなご時世になっちゃってますけど、ね、落ち着いて自分のねスキルももっと磨き上げてね、お二人と並べるように頑張っていきたいなと思います。
And I know you have a lot of friends in the Anisong industry, but
You've
is
done
there
more than you know
anyone that
around here.
you know, don't quite know quite as well that you'd like to know better?
It's a beautiful country.
そうだな、昔だったらすごいたくさんブワーって出てくると思うんだけど、最近ありがたいことに本当にお友達が増えて、それこそアニサマで出会ったっていうのもあるし、あとラジオをね、たくさん今やらせていただいてるので、そういうご縁でゲストに来ていただいて仲良くなってご飯行くっていうパターンがすごく増えたので、まあ、ありがたいんですけど、もっと仲良くなりたいっていうところだと、そうだな、あんまりでもパート、あれ自分どうした多分今の状況が幸せすぎてあんまりピンとは来ないんだよな。やっぱりこう仲良くなって連絡先を交換して、たとえこういうおうち時間にならなかったとしても、最近元気してるとか、LINE とかね、それこそ近況を
What if all we got of our loved ones is our memories? And after we're gone,
今ちょっと
there's
パ
no
ーッとタイムラインを見てみようかな。一人目いらっしゃいました。皆さんもご存知だと思います。バンドリガールズ&アーツねの新しく最近できたモルフォニカあれのボーカルを務めてる新藤あまねちゃん、まだ高校生なんですよ。すごく若くて可愛らしくて、この間ゲストで来ていただいたんですけど、めちゃくちゃ可愛くて、しかも同じ愛知県出身なんですよ。これは仲良くなりたいと思ってて、あとね、今もう一人思いついたのが、VTuber の未来あかりちゃんとはツイッターで相互フォローになって、それでちょっとお互いリプをし合ったりとかする仲なんですけどなんかいつかちょっとまあ恐れ多いですけど、なんかコラボ、歌じゃなくて普通にゲームをしたりとか、まあ、YouTube でコラボしたりとか、そういう意味ではなんかもっとこうツイッターだけの関係じゃなくて、もっとこうね、普段からこう気軽に一緒にお話できるような仲になりたいなって思いますね。
Yeah, and I know your fans would love to see that too. So last but not least, and you mentioned Aichiken earlier, you know, you were based in Nagoya until you graduated from high school. What was it like moving to Tokyo at such a young age?
なんかついに名古屋を出てしまうかっていう気持ちが強かったな、最初は。でもやっぱり自分がこういう決断をしたっていうのも、自分がもっとアニソンシンガーとして大きくなるための選択だったので、そこにあんまりこう負い目を感じることはなかったですね。名古屋を出ちゃうんだじゃなくてもう名古屋を出てもっと大きくなるぞっていうポジティブな心境でした。でもやっぱり家族と離れるのはすごく寂しかったし、僕ら昔東京にね、名古屋に住む前は東京に住んでたりもしましたけど、 とはいえやっぱり一人で東京で住むっていうのはまたこう昔と状況も違うし、東京っていう大都会の中で一人で暮らしていけるかって考えた時に、本当に18歳の自分で高校卒業したての自分が大丈夫なのかなっていう不安はすごく最初強かったんですよ。でやっぱお友達も全然いなくて、業界のね、そうみんな大学で東京に来てるって子いましたけど、みんな学校毎日あるし、誘いづらいなっていうのもあったりして、で当時東海にそんなにたくさんお友達はいなかったので、アニソンシンガーのみちちゃんって人がいるんですけど、そのみちちゃんが朝か友達作ろうよ東京でって言って、鈴木好美さんとあと西澤椎名ちゃん、
Oh, come on.
あと
Where's the
黒沢
boat?
智代さん、今では大の仲良しの智代、そのみちさんと私のその5人で一緒にご飯会をしたんですよ。ご飯会をね、友達作ろうって開いてくれて、ほんとそれがきっかけでお友達がすごい増えて、横つながりでね、どんどん広がっていって今の自分があるので、本当にみちちゃんには感謝したいし、初めてなのにね、優しくしてくれた黒沢智代さんにもね、感謝したいです。10秒ぐらいでやるコントっていうのかな、わかんない、コントっていうものでもないと思うんだけど、それをねよく動画に載せてたらなんか反響があってね、すごくなぜかそのちょっとした動画がどんどん高齢化になってっちゃって、そうだから実は朝霞に人をね大好きなミックにしていただいたりとかもあったんですけど、たまの日にでも萌さんと2人がね出てくれたりとなんかどんどん規模が大きくなってっちゃった朝霞に
What the fuck?
また何か動画を撮りたいなと思うし、ファンクラブもね、後にできた朝霞にメディアも今頑張って活動していろいろね、こうやってリモートでお届けしたりできるような環境がたくさん増えてるので、直接会えなくてもみんなに楽しんでもらえるコンテンツっていうのを皆さんにお届けしているので、ぜひなんか海外のお客さんでも多分 YouTube とかでねやっていこうと思ってるんで、ぜひ登録してね、朝霞の写真とかそこでしか見られないものもあるので、登録してもらえたら嬉しいなって思います。
Thanks so much. So, that was all of the questions that we had for our Q&A session. So, before we let you go, wanted to hear a final message for your fans.
Of course, はい。本当にあっという間のお時間でしたけど、こうやって改めてね、自分の歌に対する気持ちだったりとか、あとこういうお友達のね交友関係とかもねお話しさせていただけて楽しかったです。そしてやっぱり本当ならね、実際にみんなの顔を見ながら、あとその場で質問を受けたりとかしながらね答えたいっていうのが本当の気持ちですけど、やっぱりみんながね何より安全第一で健康に過ごすっていうのが一番最優先すべきものだと思うので、いつか来年ねみんなが元気になってね笑顔で会える日が来るのを信じて、私もこれからも素敵なアニソンを届けられるように日本で頑張って活動していきたいと思いますので、ぜひアメリカのみんなも待ってないで笑顔でね会える日を楽しみに待っていてくれたら嬉しいです。とっても辛いよって時に朝霞のアニソンを聴いてもらえたらね、もっと元気100倍になると思うんで、何かね楽しいなって思うことがあれば朝霞の Twitter なりミュージックビデオなり YouTube のチャンネルも開設します。こちらでね元気をたくさんもらってみてください。来年絶対にアメリカに行きます。ラッキーチャーム食べるぜ。ありがとうございました。 Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being with us, and everyone is so happy to see you here at KuroCon, and we can't wait to see you live in person again. So thank you again, and take care of yourself, stay healthy, and we hope to see you soon.
Me too. I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much. I love you guys. ありがとうございました。